Okay, it has been tweeted. Cool, so we are live.
Perfect.
Thanks everyone for joining us. This
Woo!
is Joey here from the FLO team. I'm joined by Rohit from RanchiMall and his team, as well as the Cryptkeeper, who is part of the FLO team as well. And today we're going to be talking about RanchiMall and FLO's history. I'll just do a background on myself, and then I'll hand it over to Rohit and his team to do backgrounds, and we can get started. Welcome everybody. I'm Joey. I'm the lead developer of FLO. Been involved in the project since the first day. Just been working on getting applications running on the FLO blockchain. Been a proof of work blockchain enthusiast since as long as I found out about Bitcoin. And I'm happy to be here with everybody who has kind of been following FLO along for the ride and has been building on FLO and been making use of the FLO blockchain for what it's good for. So I'll pass it over to Rohit now.
Hello, everybody. It's a real pleasure being here. I am being joined by two of my closest friends, Amitesh, Anand, and Vivek, who will introduce themselves in some time. I got interested. I have been aware of blockchain and Bitcoin since almost a year after it was released, but I never thought I'm going to make a career out of it. Until 2015. And in 2017, early 2017, I started traveling, and I ended up in the month of, I think it was January. Yeah, I ended up in New York, where I met Joey, and in a release of a movie called Banking on Bitcoin. It's a premiere, and then I had to make up a mind at that point of time that I need to find one partner, just one partner among the group that is there. And there were a couple of investors, there were politicians, there were real estate developers, and after talking to Joey and all of the people, I saw there's only one guy I think I can connect with. It was Joey, and that's how I started with FLO. and then we've been working on FLO. So I'll let Amitesh and Vivek introduce themselves, and after that, Joey can start with
Thanks, Rohit.
proceedings.
Okay, thank you, Rohit, and thank you, Joey. It's a real pleasure being here, and it's a real pleasure being working with FLO team and RanchiMall for a lot of technology-related development. My business 3665, which is also based out of Ranchi and headquartered here, work very closely with RanchiMall in providing and taking all the technology that is being built on FLO blockchain for enterprise network. And so we build solutions and offerings for enterprise, and we're trying to simplify understanding and acceptance of blockchain in large enterprise. So it's real fun working with Rohit and Vivek and rest of the larger team, and we keep doing small things every day. And over to this meeting, Rohit. Looking forward to hear from and learn from both of you again.
Hey, this is Vivek here. My name is Vivek Tigalapalli, and I'm a blockchain developer in RanchiMall, and I made the token system, the smart contract system, and now I'm getting more into the marketing side of things. It's been a fun ride. Like I remember the first time when we started working on Flow, we just had the C++ wallet. Like oh shit, like we had to download the whole blockchain, and now we have a exchange, we have token explorers and stuff like that. So yeah,
Awesome.
looking forward to the fun discussion ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Kripke, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Basically, is this flow? It- have been quite some time. Following you guys on Twitter, trying to kind of decipher what exactly is going on with the spectrum. Here to
He may be cutting out. I couldn't hear much, but it's good to see you, Cryptkeeper. Thanks for being part of the FLO team. If anyone else that just joined wants to go ahead and do an intro, please do it now. Otherwise, we can continue talking about Ranchi and the RanchiMall and what's going on there.
So we basically have Amit Jagadia, who's my classmate and an investor in RanchiMall, and I think he's joining from Cleveland. So Amit, would you like to
Hey,
introduce
how are
yourself?
you? Can you hear me?
Very good. Perfect. Perfect.
Hey, how are you guys? So, as Rohit said, I'm his college mate, long time friend, very good friend, and investor in
Right.
the RanchiMall. So, just want to get more information, get more hold on the flow, how exactly it works, blockchains and everything. So, very interested. Thank
And
you.
we also have Siddharth Vikram, who interned with us, and then he worked with us in Bali, on our Bali project. And then he joined one of the large companies in India, but he is very, very much associated with Ranchi Mall from since day one. So Siddharth, if you can unmute yourself, want to introduce you, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, good evening. I've been knowing Rohit much before before I think. I got introduced with him through one of his programs, uh, Silicon Valley to Ranchi experience, Steve Jobs experiences. So that was quite wonderful, and association with Ranchi Mall from 2016 till now has been fabulous.
Great. I think that's everybody. Uh,
Everybody.
and as Siddharth just mentioned, we've been working on this, or you guys have been working on Ranchi Mall since 2016. So, Rohit, do you want to give us a little bit of background? You went over how we met, which was awesome. Do you want to give us a little bit of background on some of the first things that you've been working on, and how
Sure.
the business has progressed since then?
Sure. So to go into history of Ranchi Mall, we actually have to go all the way back to 2009. And 2009 was the year when Satoshi Nakamoto came out with his white paper. But that was the year I was also coming out of my first startup. So my first startup was called Control Case, and we used to work very closely with Visa. And I kind of realized that I want to change in my life. It was a successful startup. It by 2012 it became one of the fastest growing companies in US as per Inc. 5000 magazine. So I was very, very proud of Control Case and the team I was working with. But I felt that this is limiting. I wanted to do more, and I needed to take a clear start. So I came out 2009, and it took me some time experimenting with a lot of things till I went deeply into Bitcoin white paper again in 2014. And in 2014, I realized uh, that Bitcoin is going to be it's essentially an unstoppable engine, because my background was in cryptography. So I used to do technology consulting in Control Case as well as Ernst Young before that. So I knew the ins and out. I knew the constructs that were being used, and I was my some of our interns were they end up becoming professors in universities like Carnegie Mellon and John Hopkins. They were interns in Control Case, and it was all in cryptography. So I had a background. So when I looked at the white paper very, very deeply, I realized that technologically it's hard. Like it's rock solid. There's no scenario in which the technology can be broken. And and since I came from business background, I also realized that from business point of view, the valuations that are going to emerge out of this will be in an ever increasing spiral, although there will be fluctuations. So once that determination was made, it was just a matter of how do I get into it. And so we didn't had a clue as to what we are going to do in blockchain and Bitcoin, but we knew we had to do something. So so then I started traveling around the world, and to start like going to different places and start seeking out partners and ideas. And the first place I went was I remember I started from Ranchi, and that was in the month of December 2016. That was when the Bitcoin prices reached $1,000, and I kind of had an idea that if the Bitcoin prices were to hit somewhere close to the previous high, which happened in 2013, and that high was around $1,250. So if it hit 1,200, if it reached $1,000 somewhere close by, it's going to just explode. And if it's going to explode, then I need to make a fast move. So I went to a company in Delhi, and the name of the company was GB miners, they used to do mining, and they used to run a mining contract, much like Genesis, which I realized it could be a Ponzi scheme, but they were the only people who were doing anything worth their salt in India in Bitcoin. So I had a conversation with them, and after that conversation, I realized that they are not the people I want to associate myself with. So then I took the flight and went to China. And if you remember, Joey, 2016, China was world's number one market. With we have BTCC, you have OP. They were all running the exchanges.
Yeah.
Until the Chinese government came and cracked down, and suddenly China was like out of the picture from exchange market altogether. But when I went to China, I went to Beijing and Shanghai. I realized there is no innovation here. They are just copying some of the ideas, and then there's no real innovation. So then I took a flight to New York, and in New York I ended up meeting. I started looking at what's going on today. Like the day I landed, I started looking at what's going to happen in the town, and I found out there is a in like southern Manhattan, there's going to be a movie premiere called Banking on Bitcoins. And I said, all right, let me get crashed here. And so I get crashed into that premiere, and that's when Joey, I met you. We met. There was a congressman, Steve Stockman,
Yeah.
and we also met. Yeah, we also. It's a sad story about Steve Stockman. Probably we'll talk sometime later, or probably here, because he was arrested on something which I felt was a very, very flimsy charges. But I thought he was a very nice guy. And then we met Nick, who started the Bitcoin Center, the New York Bitcoin Center. Basically, essentially, I felt who of Bitcoin world was there, and New York at that point of time in 2017 probably still was the center of Bitcoin commerce in the world. So if you count the number of ATMs, Bitcoin was you could say like New York was world number one place in Bitcoins, and I felt I came straight away to the heart of the place where it's going to happen, and so that's when I had to make a choice. Now I had to make a choice. There's so many people, they were there in that room, and I had to make a choice in order to do something, and that choice was going to be very, very critical, because once I made that choice, then we're going to stay with this for maybe 10 years. We don't know, like you're going to put a lot of energy into. Blockchain is a technology which is ahead of its time as of now. So you need to work 5 years. You have to be 5 years, as Steve Jobs used to say. Any groundbreaking technology, you need to catch it 5 years before its time, and keep on working on it till it becomes real, and then it shows itself in its true potential. So I knew that I had like we have to work 5 years, and we have to make that choice very, very fast where we're going to work with. And Ethereum as a blockchain was already big, and it already had hype. And I realized that if we pick Ethereum, we wouldn't get access to the core people who are developing it. It's just because everyone is talking about it. So I realized that I needed to build my bridges with someone who's in a startup mode, but also a team which is not money oriented. Like we don't want, like you don't want people who are only working for money. You want people who are working from some values, for changing the world, for creating something new. And the flow, I found all that combination because as Joey, you were telling, flow was started by a guy called Sky Angel.
Yeah.
And he kind of gave it up to the entire, made the code just like Satoshi Nakamoto remained hidden. But also there was a time, like there was a time when there was a 51% attack on Flow, and Sky Angel put his own money to indemnify. I think one of the exchanges. It was Bittrex, right? Yeah. So I think he indemnified Bittrex from his own money, and so that's the kind of spirit you want. Like people want to protect the community, and they put their own money on the line. So that's the community you want to associate with. And so those are very, 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 very nice signs that we had to be associated with Flow. So once the decision of being in Flow was made, now the question is what we have to do. And then we started, okay, let's look at what the technology exists right now. And when we downloaded the Flow core, we realized that the Flow core as a C++ wallet, you had to download the entire blockchain, and then then and then it was pretty technical for people to get started. So I realized that the first thing that we need to do is to have a web wallet, and essentially you need to make it walletless. You don't want any extra software installation. So the entire blockchain access has to be purely on HTML5 on internet, and you don't want any extra piece. Like if a person goes to a website, and if he can navigate in a website, he should be in a position to be able to use the blockchain. So that was the strategy we started with. We started building the web wallet, and after the web wallet was built, then we came up with our smart contract system, and we could extend it further. We could on the web we could do a token transfer system. We also could do a cloud. So one of the problems with the blockchain is that every time you put a data onto the blockchain, there's a cost there. But if you want to, let's say, do a daily chat, so you cannot put those messages into the blockchain all the time because people cannot take the cost. So you had to create a decentralized system in which there's another place where you could park the data, and people can access the data just using your FLO IDs. And so we had to create a data cloud for that, which we have also created that as well. So we built a bunch of products, and our idea was to not worry about marketing at all, not worry about talking to investors. I put my own money, and then we did an ICO, an initial coin offering, and we raised a small amount of money there. But primarily it was my own money. So I put my own money in all of this, so that we could have a blockchain which is usable, which an ordinary person can use without having. If someone knew how to use internet, he should be able to use blockchain. And as part of that journey, we met some great friends. We met 366 Pi. Vivek joined us full time. Abhishek Sinha, he joined us full time. Then we did some business experiments. We did the world's first blockchain resort, which is still live. No, but we are not kind of in Bali because of COVID, and as well as we put it was draining a lot of cash. So we said that we'll just put on a little bit of low key burner right now. And so the many initiatives we took on both on the technology side and on the business side, and with the aim that when the next hype cycle happens, which is going to be 2021, we should be ready to lead the way. So that's a brief introduction. I don't know if it gave you enough background or not, but that's a brief introduction of how it all happened.
I hadn't known about the history pre-2016, and I really like what you said, Rohit, about the 5-year timeline. I mean, we experienced that with FLO. If you think about FLO started in 2013, the original idea SkyAngel had was to create a decentralized Twitter, right? And
yes,
that's just using the metadata fields, the TX comments as they used to be called. And even in the FLO, you know how in Bitcoin the first block has the Times headline in there for the banks bailing out, whatever.
Right.
In FLO, there's a TX comment, and the first TX comment says, Saudi Arabia to ban WhatsApp and Skype. So the idea is if you create a decentralized system for data, then you're doing something powerful to fight against powers that may be that try to restrict that data from being sent out. And that's I would say an equally as powerful concept as decentralized money. So FLO is kind of a marriage between that concept and the decentralized money concept, and it has 99% the same code base as Bitcoin. So you can use the same tools, you can use the same paradigms, you can use the same engineering practices, and we get a lot for free, quote unquote, upstream from Bitcoin. So that's basically like the history of FLO. So it's good to hear the history of RanchiMall. But yeah, the 5-year timeline thing, we started in 2013 with just that small idea, right? And it wasn't really until 2018 that we had real success in FLO. And by success, I mean some of the apps came online, like Alexandria's OIP protocol. That came online with MLG. It came online with Caltech. And we were able to deliver something, but it took 5 years to create that software. And we did it from the ground up, just kind of like with all of our passion and our energy, we kind of created this out of nothing, which is really, really awesome. Obviously, SkyAngel contributed so much. He helped with the BitRX thing. He created the software. He created the first website. And everyone's contributed a little bit to it. This is where we're at right now. But yeah, another thing that you talked about is the philosophy. So I want to talk about that a little bit because it's super important. Having a fair start and having everything in mind from the beginning gives everyone an assurance that there's no looming like deadline or time where there's some sort of dump or some sort of team exit. If you have everything completely decentralized from the get-go, then you know you're just going to get people who are philosophically aligned with your mission to work on this software because it's completely fair and no one has an advantage over anyone else. So that's super important. I'm a big fan of philosophy in software. I think it's incredibly, it's crucial to building a team. So yeah, thanks for going through all that. I mean, it's very, very cool to hear your thoughts on this and how it's progressed over time.
Right, and there's one thing I'd like to add to that. Is and something which I gave a talk in Carnegie Mellon University, and I was telling that what we have to realize that we live in a world which is just not an engineering world. We live in an economic world. All right, the laws of the economics go on as much as the laws of engineering do. And if you look at why someone like Donald Trump is the president, like Donald Trump is not the smartest guy sitting in the room, but he's president of America, right? And the reason why he is president of America is because he can carry a substantial number of people and see them and make them see the world the way he sees that. So if any technology, if it has to make an impact, it has to touch ordinary people. And this is the problem which I had with, I used to go with all the crypto, the world's number one cryptographic, the core technology, like research conference is called Crypto and Eurocrypt. They are two of the leading ones in the world. And if you go to those conferences, and I've been to those conferences because of the interns that we hired who became the professors. So I just wanted to go and I used to hang out with them. So I kind of realized very early that these guys they're geniuses. Like they're very, very smart people. Except they are living in their own world. They're living in a world in which their acceptance comes from their own peers, from their own professors, and it is not coming. And they don't care about whether masses need it or they use it or there's any real-time application of that, which is fine in research world. That's what you need to do in research world when you're building a new research construct. Now, if let's say you're building identity-based encryption, well, then you exactly need that. You need not to think about what are the applications of it, but I can tell you that with 200 such technologies that you're going to build, only one of those technologies will actually be used. So one of the things that's why, remember, we had a debate earlier on when the field name was TX comment and when you made it FLO data. So when so we had a debate on that, is that if you keep it TX transaction comments, then an ordinary person can understand it. And if you make it FLO data, then you're taking it, you're giving it a developer tinge, you're making it a little bit of technical. And since we just don't live in an engineering world, we live in an economic world. The real decision makers in the world are consumers. Like Steve Jobs, when he understood it very, very well. Bill Gates understood it very, very well. And the reason why Linux or Unix, in spite of being a superior operating system, did not catch up as Microsoft Windows did. That's because Windows was designed for ordinary people, so that ordinary people can use it. And Steve Jobs was also designed for ordinary people, but then he did not, in his first avatar, they did not latch on into the network effects of an open architecture, which was the PC architecture. And that's why Steve Jobs lost for the first time, But so it's very important to be open so that you can grow fast. And what's also very, very important that you are designing for consumers, ordinary people who can use it. And when you design for ordinary people, when you design things for consumers, that's when you get an edge, a superior edge, and that can take you far, far ahead. Now, if you look at Ethereum at this point of time, so Ethereum has this concept, like someone has to first download a MetaMask, or some other wallet, Getty wallet, and then has to understand a concept called gas, and then the learning curve is pretty steep, and that learning curve has straight away excluded 95% of the people from the world from using Ethereum fundamentally. So FLO being a very simple concept, you just put some transaction comments or what you call as FLO data, just put some simple comments inside the blockchain, which means people can actually look into the blockchain and they can read the content in the blockchain in that field and they can make judgments for themselves. So one of the things that we shared, so we have shared a link, which is is that RanchiMall. Since we are also doing a lot of experimentation, so we incorporated RanchiMall on the blockchain itself, and that's a new concept that has never been done before. And so if you look at the content of, and we have shared the content. It is the FLO podcast link is there. The first one is the incorporation. If you look at the content, it's just plain English. That we are just authorizing creation of RanchiMall on the blockchain, and that's a personal message from me to and then authorized an address starting with F and K, on the blockchain where we will whatever RanchiMall will officially say, it will come in the blockchain, sent by this particular blockchain address, and that is our constitution. Whatever we say, that is what we are bound with. And in the second message, we just create the token system. We just created 21 million tokens. We are mirroring Bitcoin. So we created 21 million tokens, out of which we have sold 100,000 tokens till now on the initial coin of, like when we did our initial coin offering in 2017, and rest I'm just holding on because I just want to make sure that our valuation has run up pretty fast in those times, so I just want to make sure that we have enough technology that can justify that. So yeah, so the point what I'm trying to make is that although Ethereum seems to be big right now, but if you imagine that there are 7.6 billion people, and 7.6 billion people can potentially find blockchain will reach every one of them. And if you think that is Ethereum, is that blockchain that is going to reach 7.6 billion people, and the answer is clearly no, because it's just too technical. And it will be some other blockchain, and FLO is a very strong candidate for that because I think at this point of time, if you look at all the blockchains which can do applications, which can do dApps, if you take Neo, if you take Tron, all of them are essentially they are mirroring the architecture of Ethereum itself. So, but FLO is the only one, I think, if you can simplify enough, then it is general, it is global, and it can create those kind of applications which can actually touch 7.6 billion people. And we have done some experiments. We have done some experiments. We are using some people who have no technical background, and they're doing content collaboration, which is also a link which you have given in the FLO podcast. And those people have no idea what blockchain is. They have never done even mathematics in their lives, so they are using the blockchain, and that gives me a lot of happiness that we have down the IQ required to use the blockchain. We have just brought down it so low, and now it's just about getting the right businesses.
I'm going to share my screen, Rohit, so you can see what I'm scrolling through. By the way,
okay.
Last time I shared my screen, my computer crashed, so if that happens, just hang tight. I'll be right back. Let's see. Still here?
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, let's go through it. So you sent me this link. I just went through these ones up here. So for everyone that's listening to this that doesn't have video, because we do have this in podcast format as well, Rohit shared with me a link to a blockchain transaction from 2018 where it says, "This message is from the personal wallet of Mr. Rohit Tripathi, founder of RanchiMall. He authorizes the creation of the RanchiMall Incorporation blockchain contract. RanchiMall Incorporation contract is the incorporation instrument of RanchiMall. It is authorized to issue new blockchain contracts and define their rules of operations. The receiving address is the authorized issuer of further RanchiMall Incorporation blockchain contract instructions." So can you go through this a little bit, Rohit, and tell me why you decided to use plain text and what the purpose of this transaction was?
Sure. So now this uses a term called blockchain contract, and so I'll talk about that concept slightly later. But I'm going to tell you what this message means. So now, so when we say that we are going to incorporate an entity on the blockchain, it means that it. So what is the meaning of incorporation? The meaning of incorporation is a group of people are coming together, and they're agreeing as to how are they going to associate with themselves and what businesses they're going to do. And then you can split that into equity shares, or you can split that into tokens, and people can buy, and other investors can invest into those rules. And as the business grows, the investors, they get a good return, and that's the expectation. So in this message, so when you create, let's say, so now if you look at conventional incorporations, The conventional incorporations are done by, which are authorized by the state, right? So you have American Constitution, or you have the Indian Constitution, and the Constitution authorizes a Secretary of Treasury or a Secretary of State in different states, and then it tells them they can charter new companies. So that's the flow of authority, that the Constitution is permitting an entity, and that entity, a government entity, and the government entity is chartering, chartering new companies in the state of Delaware or state of Nevada, but we don't have any such concept like that. So if you create a token system on the blockchain, and on the same, there will be another message which actually creates the token system. If you create that message straight without that authority, then the flow is broken, because no one, it's an orphan, you could say it's an orphan incorporation. So the way we did the incorporation was, I said that personally I'm authorizing one address. So because RanchiMall, before I decided to incorporate it on the blockchain, on the FLO blockchain, it was not incorporated at all. It was a proprietorship, just running on my personal account. So what I did, that I transferred my personal authority to a blockchain address, and I said that now henceforth I'm going to create an entity called RanchiMall, and it will be a blockchain-based contract, an incorporation blockchain contract. And that blockchain contract is authorized to issue further blockchain contracts, and each of those blockchain contracts can do business activities. And then we can split the ownership of it and sell it to investors. So this English language text is just simple English. You don't need technology in that. We're just conveying an intent that RanchiMall is being authorized through personally. An individual is chartering a company, which is an empowerment by itself. Now, if an individual can charter the company on the blockchain, that's empowerment. And so long as people trust that individual, then they know what are the rules under which that company is going to work. So that's the idea here. So as an individual, I first authorized a blockchain address, and then the blockchain address, whatever it says, that's the Bible, or that's the Constitution.
Got it.
So there's another message. So there's another message. If you go back to incorporation and take you can just take you can take that one. Yeah, the FLO Scout. Yeah. Okay. Now this uses our technology. Yeah. For the podcast, probably I would just read it for the people who are not on the screen. So now we have the second screen. And this screen comes from our smart contract explorer or token explorer, which are both the same. So which we have created on the FLO, and now this is actually a technical command which has been given. Okay, so what we have said in the FLO data, create 21 million tokens with the name RMT hash. So we have used artificial intelligence, and if you create a language, you could use simple and plain English to create a token system. And if you create a token system, then from a sending FLO address to receiving FLO address, you can transfer tokens, and the token explorer will show all the current balances. If you understand what I'm trying to say. So this statement here, this is the actual technical command in plain English, which we are using AI to parse. And it basically says that we are creating 21 million tokens, and the name of the token system is RMT. And if you look at the sender address, so the sender address is FKNW and a long string of characters. But that is our incorporation address. And we had to keep it on the sender, because it's the sender who digitally signs the message, not the receiver. And as is the sender that signs that digitally signs the message, it means that every message in FLO data will be digitally signed by the sender address. So when the sender, whenever a message like this is created, so you can create any token system. You can create XYZ hash. You can create ABC hash. You can create your own company hash. If you say create 40 million tokens with ABC hash, your ABC hash token has been created, and 40 million tokens will be credited to the sender FLO address. And after that, whomsoever, we have a different command for transfer, just like ERC21 command. And so if you transfer, let's say, 100,000 tokens to another address, your token explorer will simply calculate and give will credit 100,000 tokens to the new address. So that's how we have created a token explorer, but that's how we have also done the incorporation, which is we have created ERC21 equivalent in the flow, but it uses plain English. So instead of saying create 21 million, you can also say start 21 million. You could also say incorporate 21 million, and the system will understand.
And we have a token tester link down later on when we are talking about the token system. Like you can just put an English text and then you can see if it actually makes any sense or not.
Cool, that's
you want
awesome.
To see it now?
Yeah. Where do I find it on this page?
If you go down to FLO token system, which is
there's so much here. I want to go through all of it, but yeah, let's do it in order.
Token transfer system. Yeah, over there. Yeah. So flow data tester. That one.
There it is.
I
found it. Cool.
So yeah, just put any text. So like create. Yeah. Just try anything. Yeah.
Oh, what's
a 5 million Joey hash.
And then press enter. Oh wow! Look at that.
So.
And it worked. It passed. So if I type something wrong, so I do like create 10. That's not gonna work, right?
You have to
yeah, nice.
Very cool. That's awesome. So you can check. So basically, what you're saying is everyone who's running, everyone who's using your software has this library which can check whether or not someone is sending incorrect data. Right, so it's very easy for someone to tell if it's an incorrect command.
Yep.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah. I think Rohit sir can go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So that's the project that we worked in. So once we figured out that from the web we can communicate with the FLO blockchain. And then we could do systems on top of it. And so Vivek basically worked with the Electrum Electrum wallet. We converted using Python. We first converted Electrum and Electrum X into the flow, but we stopped that because we realized our future is on the web. So all our wallets are on the web because web is more usable, and Electrum is just Electrum. Like everyone has an Electrum. And so. So that's does anyone have questions with respect to incorporation?
I mean, I have a lot of questions, but we have a lot to go through. Do you want to just continue? You know what? Let's do this. How about if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat on Twitch or send them to Telegram, and we'll get to them eventually. Let's go to the next app because there's so much here, Rohit. What do you want to go to next? You can see my screen, right?
Okay. Yeah. So let's now go to blockchain contracts. Okay. So what we'll do is, because we have done so much of work, so let's go to. So we'll give you an overview of all of that. So let's go to blockchain contracts. Okay.
Yeah.
And so now blockchain contracts. Okay. Now blockchain contract is we could say it's a take on smart contracts, and so obviously Ethereum was the first major smart contract platform. And what smart contracts, what it does, it gives the power of computation to every blockchain node. So before Ethereum, if you look at Bitcoin and all the Bitcoin based blockchains, they're essentially decentralized ledgers. They can simply calculate the balances of every address, but they could not do any arithmetic or computational calculations on the blockchain itself. But what Ethereum did, that they came with a concept that you could actually do computations. You can do computations as per the instructions on the blockchain itself, and that computation allowed it to do smart contracts. But one of the problem with smart contract is as if you look at the whole architecture of smart contract, and this problem I have realized since some time, is if you automate everything 100%, then you fall into Kurt Gödel. Kurt Gödel was a famous computer scientist in 1931. You fall into the Kurt Gödel's paradox. And so I'll just take you a little bit through of history in this. So in 1900, there was a challenge given to all the mathematicians of the world, and the challenge was to find out all the rules of mathematics which can prove any theorem. Like, you don't need to, like, just by the rules, because the rules, just through the derivatives of the rules, can find all the theorems. And that was the challenge was given to mathematicians, and that challenge went. No one could solve the problem until 1931. In a very elegant and a simple paper, Kurt Gödel demonstrated that it's impossible to come up with a set of rules which would axiomize the entire mathematics, and he gave the reasons for that. And he said that if you do that, you will run into paradoxes, you'll run into contradictions, and he proved those contradictions, using a technique called diagonalization. Now, essentially, the meaning of that discovery in layman terms is, if you automate something 100%, you will make errors. There'll be some cases in which errors will be made, and it will become hackable. And so I realized that there's only one way to solve that problem, and you have to reintroduce human element. You have to introduce non-linearity. You have to introduce, you have to take away logical thinking, and you have to get a guy who can introduce some you could say non-logic into it. So all the smart contracts that we have today, if you design a very, very narrow subset of instructions, then you can get a hack-proof smart contract. But the moment you go broad, okay, and that's what happened in the case of the DAO, the first DAO smart contract which got hacked. It's just because of the fact that someone injected a command and drained all the Ethereum tokens to himself, and that was we could say the folly, or it's basically Kurt Gödel's operations, Kurt Gödel in operation. So what we came up with the concept as, we will create a set of contracts in the rules in which there will be at least one human arbiter, and that would make sure that a hacker will definitely have to run up against the wall of a human being, or when I'm saying one human being, it means a couple of human beings, So we have an article called Fixing Smart Contracts, which is called Blockchain Contracts, which we did. We created the concept, and what we said was that, just like a smart contract, you make all the rules on the blockchain, but let a human guy decide, and give the human guy the right to change the rules or to ignore some rules in exceptional cases, and that would fix the smart contract, and to demonstrate that, we created a couple of blockchain contracts. One of them is the FLO blockchain contract, in which what we say is that every project that we do under the FLO umbrella would be owned by this FLO blockchain contract. And as I was telling you earlier, that we are incorporated, so we have incorporated in an incorporation address. So our incorporation address has authorized FLO blockchain contract, and FLO blockchain contract is permitted to have its own token system, and it's permitted to have its own projects, and you can come up with an aggregate valuation of all the projects which is coming under the FLO blockchain contract, which will be ultimately owned by the incorporation blockchain contract, whose token is RMT, which is the master token, which owns all of it. But we have this sub blockchain contract called FLO blockchain contract, and there's the human judge that will decide what's the valuation of every single project. So so that's the next concept that we did, and then once we had this we had blockchain contract as a tool available to us, then we restructured RanchiMall as a pure blockchain contract company. And that's why if you see the date, was August 2018, and that date came because the technology was built later on. We had the concept, but the technology was built later on. and that's why our incorporation date is actually later than we actually started working on FLO. So that's the idea of blockchain contract. The idea of blockchain contract is it's a modification of smart contract which reintroduces human element, and at a small price of taking away the efficiency of smart contract, you introduce more security, and you make it hack proof, and you make it safe. And the analogy that I normally give is we had automated trading systems since 1960s. Since the computers first came, we also had automated trading systems that did stock market trading. But till date, not a single automated trading system has come close to replicate the performance of Warren Buffett, who's a human being. And that's because human beings are superior than machines, and human beings are superior than rules. So it's the same idea that if blockchain contracts were to become big, the valuation that a blockchain contract will generate will be much, much higher than any valuation that a smart contract can generate. Just because human beings are smarter, and then human beings can take much better decisions, and they can also guarantee security much better than any smart contract can do. So that's the basic idea about blockchain contracts. And we have a bunch of links out here that explains what it is, and it gives you an idea. And what you have to understand is that when you create a new system, it did not be mathematical, or it did not be a set of computer science commands. It can be just plain English. It can be a concept. And if the people are participating in that concept, and then that concept generates valuation, or that the concept generates wealth, you are in the game. You're just like a smart contract that grows valuation.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe
that's
Rohit, you want to speak about some of the examples that you did with blockchain contracts relative to startup, and explain maybe in common man terms how exactly it was taken to the economic activity.
Perfect. So one of the blockchain contracts that we did was with Amitesh Anand, and so the 366 Pi, and which we call as startup blockchain contract. And so we formed a set of rules. So essentially, the idea was that we are going to fund startups under startup blockchain contract. So we organized a startup contest in association with the US consulate here in Kolkata, and also government of Jharkhand. They have a department of IT. They're also partners in that. So all three of us, we organized, and 366 Pi, we organized a startup contest, and we identified some winners out of them, and we said that we will give you a small seed investment of in Indian rupees, that's about 32,000 rupees. That was about $500. And if people, we gave them some milestones, and we said that the milestone tracking would be done by 366 Pi, and if any startup crossed those milestones, it would be eligible to take a higher funding. And then we created an aggregate valuation of all of that, and we said that we'll sell it to we had plans that we'll sell it to the investors, which we have not done yet because the system is not stabilized yet, but it will be done into future. It will 100% be done. So we had 16 startups, out of which we funded 4 startups for 32,000 rupees, and out of which one startup went for the full funding, like not the next stage funding of about 10 lakh rupees. That's about 10 lakh rupees, about like $20,000, roughly $20,000 there. And so now we are, in this case, we are using startup blockchain contract as a vehicle by which we are going to fund startups. And as startup grow in valuation, the startup blockchain contract will also grow in valuation. And as startup blockchain contract grows in valuation, the incorporation blockchain contract will grow in valuation. And as incorporation startup blockchain contract goes in valuation, the RanchiMall tokens will start growing in value. And then our core investors will get benefited out here. So that's the idea about blockchain contracts. So blockchain contract is a very, very powerful concept, and it has no technology into it. It's just using the power of blockchain. So because once we have written the rules in the blockchain, and once we are telling who are the entities who are eligible to take benefits of those rules in the blockchain, it just becomes immutable, and it becomes infinite in history, because it has been written in blockchain, and no one can censor it. So it provides a clear, we could say, a clear sense of everyone that who gains and who does not gain and who has to do what and who doesn't have to do what, all by the rules of the blockchain. And once we set this up, once the system is set up, then I can vanish and Amitesh can vanish. The system will keep on growing because the rules are already set and the system has been stabilized, and we know we know what rules are going to work so that can fund startups. So that's the idea about the startup blockchain contract. So we have 4 big blockchain contracts. One is the FLO blockchain contract, in which we do all the FLO projects. Then we have the startup blockchain contract, in which we fund startups. Then we also have internship blockchain contracts, in which we are kind of promoting interns and using interns and getting work done out of them. And the 4th one is the real estate blockchain contract, in which people buy tokens of a real estate blockchain contract, and then they can stay in different places, like the world's first blockchain resort in Bali. So blockchain contracts is a very important concept in RanchiMall, and it will become more and more visible and prominent as we move beyond the technology stage, and when as its full economic benefits and starts becoming apparent. Okay, so that's blockchain contracts.
Wow, that's incredible. So really what you're saying is, and let me just try to restate it in my own words, if you do everything in machine code, then the machine code is going to make a mistake that's so big that a human, if they were accountable for it, could have prevented it easily. And the efficiency that you gain from the machine code is not always the best outcome for everyone that wants to create a decentralized contract. So it's possible to create a decentralized contract that's owned on a blockchain using the properties of proof of work and the Bitcoin security system that doesn't have a smart contract system that's also built on 100% logical instructions. It's built on this secure, decentralized architecture, but the decisions that are being made in the contract are made by humans. Is that correct?
You nailed it. That's exactly what it is. And there's one more thing I want to add on top of that.
Yeah.
If you look at what is the cause, what is the source of progress, all right? The source of progress has always been new ideas by new individuals. Okay, an exceptional genius comes with an idea and he writes a white paper and which becomes Bitcoin. Or another exceptional genius comes and he figures out all the ins and outs and comes up with an iPhone. Or so massive leaps in human knowledge has only come from individuals. But if you look at our present corporate structure, does not permit any individual to go ahead and go all the distance. He needs to have a board of directors. He will have to have shareholding. He could be voted out. And so our corporate structure today only supports an association of people. It does not support individuals. But if you start doing blockchain contracts in which it's not the machine code, you sacrifice a little bit of efficiency from the machine code, you put some human element, but let the human decide the rules, decentralize the rules on the blockchain, let that blockchain start growing in its valuation, then you will start finding great individuals emerging from different parts of the world, from unknown corners of the world, coming up with some fascinating ideas. And those ideas will be discovered because they will start getting higher valuations, and just not higher valuations of a small spurt like Ripple or Chainlink type, but a valuation which is sustained over a period of time, in which every neutral, ordinary observer can conclude that this is an exceptional idea. Or then the world is an amazing place. Then, is that because now you don't need anyone's support. On your own, you can create some exceptional stuff, and the financial structure behind the blockchain is supporting you. It's giving you the funding. It's giving the ideas. It's giving the space to experiment. And so I also see blockchain contract as an instrument to empower individuals. Just not association of people as the current corporate structures do, but also individuals. And just the fact that individuals can create businesses and companies through blockchain just by themselves, I find that immensely empowering for society.
Absolutely. Do you want to go through some of the examples of that you have here?
Yeah, sure. So if you just scroll through that, so I basically have also given some of the rules. If you look at at the guidelines, the blockchain contract. So I've also given some. So let's look at the FLO blockchain contract. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Guidelines. So one of the. So I'm yeah. Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go through the guidelines. This is really cool.
So I'm explaining as to how the blockchain contract has to be designed at a top level, in which so essentially, so the blockchain is a set of rules, right? I mean, it just is a set of rules, and so what you do is you make a set of rules, and so like in a startup contract, we made the rule that there'll be any startup that comes for the first time, we'll give them a small token amount of $500. We'll give them a milestone. And if they reach the first milestone, then then we'll give them the second milestone, and they give them the third milestone, and they cross all the third milestone, then they're eligible automatically for the next higher funding. And if they again, there are some milestones, and those milestones will be verified through Oracle system, on the blockchain, and then you have the next set of milestones, and as they get more and more valuations, everyone is seeing that there's one startup which is coming up, But now the question is, if you are the administrator of that, blockchain contract, how would you make sure that the blockchain contract itself has enough fund to fund the startups? So I given some 3 rules out here, and the 3 rules are written out here, which is the first, you have to make sure that your operating expenses should always be lower than the receipts of the sale of original coins. Okay, so suppose you did some coin sale and you raised $1 million. Now that $1 million has to last you maybe 10 years. Okay, you have to make sure that your operating expenses is always much lower than those $1 million. And because what you're going to do now is, suppose you spend $10,000 out of that $1 million. Now what you have to do is to get another valuation of more than $10,000, and then you square even again. So then I gave the next rule, which is said that how do you ensure that the valuation will be higher than the operating expenses? The increase in valuation will be higher in the operating system. For that, I gave the second rule, which is the supply of the original coins must always be lower than the demand of all coins. Okay, and that's the basis of all valuation. That this is one of the contradictions in the world is that in order to create abundance of wealth, you have to create scarcity. Bitcoin has scarcity of 21 million, and that's why it's creating all the wealth. If suppose Bitcoin were infinite, it would not create even a single penny of wealth, right? So it's just the world comes with black and white, and so scarcity creates wealth. So you have to make sure that that at any point of time you have to have some sense of the demand, and then your supply has to be always lower than the demand. So that's why even though we ourselves issued 21 million tokens on the ICO, I never sold more than 100,000 because I judged the same demand, and I realized that 100,000 I can easily sell, and with that 100,000 I can get higher valuations, But if I put more tokens in then I'm not sure of the demand, So the supply of the coins has to be lower than the demand of all those coins, and the third is there has to be a minimal viable market for trading of the tokens. There has to be an existence of the market where people can trade tokens freely. And if you have those 3 conditions in place, then you can create a token system or a blockchain contract, which will always increase in value, and you can tap a little bit of that increase in value for expenses. And if you can do that judiciously, you can fund yourself infinitely. Okay, you have to do nothing. You have to just make sure that you just keep on following those rules, and you will fund yourself infinitely. Which is again a very empowering idea, I think.
Absolutely. So that's a great overview of how these are created. Can we go through some of them that have been created already? Is this one the FLO blockchain contract?
Yeah, let's look at the FLO blockchain contract. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's look at that.
This was written by Vivek.
Yeah, this was written by Vivek. Vivek is the administrator of this blockchain contract.
Got it.
So he wrote it. Okay. So he just decides, how it's going to be done. So there's a starter, but you can go down the elements, So let's do elements. Okay, what are the elements of the blockchain contract? So what we are saying here is you will have the projects, which are the actionable assignments. So if you do a web wallet, that's a project, and then we have milestones and objectives of the blockchain contract. All right, so we're going to say that we're going to make one product in 6 months. We're going to make a smart contract system in, let's say, next 10 months. So you're creating a milestone and objective. Then you have someone called an administrator. Now that's the human element as I talked about. So who's going to be the final arbiter of the decision making, so initially it's one person, but your administrator can also be decentralized in a way. Like it can be a group of people, but it's always good to have one administrator at the start, because you want an individual to decide. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult later on, right? And then you have what is called as the opening valuation, which is the start valuation. Okay, now this is the valuation at which you are selling the initial tokens. Okay, so so what we said that we will be issuing 21 million tokens for RanchiMall tokens out here, but in theory we could have also have 10 million tokens for the FLO blockchain contract. Okay, and we could have said that all at every blockchain contract is 1 cent, so it's 10 million cents, and that's about $100,000. Yeah, $100,000, right? And so you have $100,000 entire valuation, and then we could set milestones. Okay, that okay, if you make this project, all right, let's say a FLO web wallet is released, so your valuation has increased from $100,000 to $150,000. Now, who decides that? That's decided by whether you are able to attract a new investor who's willing to invest into your token at the increased valuation. And that's the demand supply thing that you have to make sure that when you are increasing a valuation, and if you can get investors, if you get people at enough attention from people, then the valuation will increase. And the valuation when increases, then your running valuation is high. And if the running valuation is high, then you can tap a little bit of those tokens for expenses. And so in this case, our expenses would be salaries of the people who would be working on FLO projects and interns and and the softwares and the servers and whatever we need to do. So that's the running valuations. If you can go down a bit. And now we have given all the details. Okay, we have so what are the projects? Okay, so we have to we gave them 4 projects when we wrote that we have to make RMTs on the FLO blockchain, which is done, which you saw. And then we develop an Electrum wallet for the FLO, which was also done and delivered. And then we said extend the Electrum wallet to understand RMT and blockchain contracts. So we did an alternate version of it, which is we did it on the web, but that's also done. And then we said support the SegWit version of the FLO. That was the project that we did out here. But this project we have dropped it. We have put other projects in it out here. But this was written about 2 years in 2018. And then it has all the details out here. So so that's So essentially, you're breaking down, in this case, the entire FLO blockchain contract is breaking into what projects you are going to do. And if you meet those milestones, if you complete those projects, then your valuation will go up. And then you can sell the tokens of that blockchain contract.
Got it. Very cool. I see there's a diagram here of the RanchiMall Electrum server. Great.
Yes.
What else do we have? There's an internship contract.
Internship blockchain contract, yeah. Now this is, I think, it's one of the most valuable blockchain contracts that we have done, and it's a real successful blockchain contract because we got some people. So essentially, what this contract is, we'll find some projects which interns will do, and there's a cost. There's a cost of paying to the interns,
right.
But those projects themselves have some monetary value, and if you could have if you could create enough monetary value for each of those, like all the projects which is out there, and then get a valuation out of that, we can support interns, but we can also create, you could say, an expanding valuation system out of it. So we got some amazing people out of here. We got Sairaj, we got Ashwini Bande, we got internship blockchain contract has given us some fascinating people. Sairaj Mote, who does our UI, all of them have gone through our internship blockchain contract. So what Akhil, essentially? Akhil, we had Akhil Bharti, yeah. So internship blockchain contracts have been tremendously helpful for us to find all the people and the projects that we do. So till now, one of the questions that has bothered me is what are the projects that interns are going to do? Are they going to do ordinary projects? Are they going to do extraordinary projects? And so that was my dilemma. And what I've realized that they have to do projects that will directly give people something that they can relate to. Okay, so you can write news content and news articles like a blog or like CNN or like BBC, which people understand. People don't understand blockchain, but they understand news. They understand what BBC is writing. So if you find a set of interns that would do content writing using blockchain, and they can collaborate using blockchain, then technically you can create an article as good as what comes in BBC or what comes in the New Yorker, but being done through interns, and then that will so essentially what you want is interns should be working just not on technical projects, but they should actually be working on projects whose output can be seen and understood by ordinary people directly. And this has been a late realization to me, so we have been executing that for about last 3 months now. But you will also again see this is a flagship blockchain contract. A lot of so will come up. So we just that was the same concept. There's the administrator, there's the initial valuation, there's the running valuation, and then all the tasks and projects, and then and all of them is on the FLO blockchain. The rules are on the FLO blockchain, and the people are on the FLO blockchain. And every intern has a blockchain ID, and you can track what someone has done, and you can directly pay the intern on his blockchain ID, which is the FLO blockchain ID.
Cool. Have you paid them in FLO?
They only understand Indian rupees till now, so we've not played in FLO, but it once the technology is ready, it will be paid on FLO as well. Once the exchange is ready, when the infrastructure is ready, they'll be paid on FLO as well.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, go ahead.
So what happened in India was that India banned all cryptocurrencies for like 1.5 years. Okay, so that was a massive dampener for us. So I had to make sure that anyone who's participating in the system is safe from legal point of view. So we. Yeah. So but now the Supreme Court has permitted that once again. So now we can go ahead and we can do that again.
Oh, great! That's good news.
And we have the page where we track
the interns.
Interns with their FLO IDs. It'll be down there. So probably you can do it now or probably.
Yeah, let's do it now. Is it on the bottom? I guess.
Yeah, if you go down. Oh yeah. If you go down, you'll see RIBC. Okay. Even further down.
Yeah, there's so much here.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, did I go past it?
Just go up a little bit. Oh yeah.
Which one is it?
It's RIBC. Like little bit. I think one more round up. That's it. I think there's some delay in the.
Yeah,
the screen is a little bit delayed.
Yeah, I'm not able to.
Why don't you send the message directly? Why don't you send in the message?
Sorry.
And you can just click the link.
There's so much here. You guys have created so many.
It's single data authentication, and I'll send it on the chat over there.
Okay. Oh, here it is.
Cool. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
How do I? What should I do?
Yeah, I'll just guess it.
You just go in as guest.
Oh, look at that! You have like a little stamp of approval. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Meanwhile, Rohit, there's also a question in a message,
Yeah.
And I think it is about how do you think we can get a business adoption of this tool that you were talking about, and what area of the market would be best to start in?
Yeah. So as I was explaining, that blockchain any new technology that comes, right? It's not easy for a mass adoption to happen to a new technology. And there's a defined theory of innovation as to how any new technology it gets adopted, and it goes through essentially 5 different cycles. The first cycle is that you have to find what is called as the innovators. Like we are all the innovators in FLO right now. In fact, I would say the entire Bitcoin and blockchain market, the world population is 7.6 billion people, and then we have maybe 20 billion people in the world who are actually aware of Bitcoin actively. And so all those 20 million people are less than 1% of the world population. So we are all the innovators. So the first stage is the innovation stage. And once you cross the innovator users, you get the next set of people who are called the early adopters. And these are the people who start realizing that, this technology has some potential, and they get excited by doing something new. So then you have to go for the early adopters. And after early adopters comes the third stage of users, which is called the early majority. And now these early majority are the first time when you have found a mass application, and these are the people who are the ones who use the doctors who are using the first pagers. They were the early adopter. They were the early majority. And once the early majority stage is crossed, then you get what is called as the late majority. and late majority of the laggards people who would probably only do when everyone else has do. They want to play safe and they want to make sure that everyone else has experimented, and only then they will come and join the new technology. So then you get the late majority, and then finally you get the laggards. So there's a defined cycle in which any new innovative product has to go through. So we are no exceptions. Everything that we are doing in FLO or everything we're doing in the blockchain space or in Bitcoin space, we are all in the innovator stage right now. And there's no way you can bypass this cycle, for any innovative product, there's no way. So you have to first find the right innovators, and in our case, the innovators is people in the FLO group or the people who are innovation students, someone who is really excited about the technology. And once you get the innovators, then you have to get the early majority, the early adopters and early majority. And so it looks like Vivek, it's like the cloud. There's a problem with the cloud. I think we're doing some experiment with the cloud.
It's the uBlock origin. Could you just disable it?
I was wondering. I think it's already blocked 130,000 requests.
No, it's actually the request to the cloud server, and sometimes it gets trapped in there.
I figured it was. Why. I wanted to let you guys finish talking though. I knew that I saw it counting up, and I was like, yeah, that's probably it. But okay, what should I look at here? What's going on? This is pretty cool.
So if you look at projects, go to the projects. These are our RIBC. RIBC stands for RanchiMall Internship Blockchain Contracts. So if you look at all these are projects that we are doing out here, so you can click any of the projects, and so that's the activity. There's only one activity on this project.
Yeah,
there's only one. Go to blockchain content creation on popular topics.
Oh, look at this.
So that's another project that we're doing right now. And those are the interns. So these are all the interns who are logging to the FLO ID. Okay, the only identity in the system is the FLO ID. And from that, we know who is whom, and then we allocate them the work, and we coordinate. And then from this, we can generate value. We can give them scores. There's a leaderboard scored at the start, and we can give them the scores. And from those scores, we could find out which FLO ID is performing the best. And we can give them incentives. We can give them more flows on their FLO ID. If flow with the currency.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah.
So then I can also go to. I see. So each user has a FLO ID.
Abhishek, that's his FLO ID, and then we have given a score of 23. So he's a leaderboard right now. So if I had let's say 40 flows, I would give 23 flows to Abhishek because his score is 23 in the proportion of the score. And it's all linked to the FLO IDs, and you can directly pay him to this FLO ID. So everything is linked to the FLO ID.
Very cool. Oh wow, there's a feed. This is great. Some settings. Go to dark mode. Very cool. I like these apps. They're very user friendly. This is what's needed in blockchain.
Yeah, that's Sairaj. That's Sairaj Mote. Like he makes amazing UI.
That's very cool.
I love the.
Yeah.
Great.
We got a guy through the blockchain contract itself, internship blockchain contract, and
it's awesome. Cool. So
you met Joey. You met Raja, right? You met Raja. You talked to Raja earlier, right?
I believe so. Was that we did like an interview on Facebook or something?
Yes. He's the guy. So he's the guy who managed the RIBC initially, and he got us those great guys. All those guys. So Raja.
Oh yeah, I remember. Cool. That's great. It's good to see that the team is expanding. What else have you guys worked on? Can we check out the web wallet?
Yeah, let's check the web wallet.
Oh yeah, sure.
Let me close this other one.
Vivek would like to take them through the web wallet.
Yeah. So I'm on the web wallet now. It looks like I've already logged in. I can generate a new address or recover a FLO address.
So there's no login here. You can. This is just like you come to web wallet, and you would be able to generate any number of addresses as you like. And so now again. So now this goes at the center of our philosophy as to how can you make your architecture walletless. Okay.
Yeah.
So in traditional Ethereum or in a Bitcoin wallet, it's a combination of 100 private keys or 200 private keys, and you can generate more and more. And that's a wallet. But if you have 100 private keys, then you have to have a separate piece of software. What we said that we we essentially looked at the way Elon Musk looked at rocket. So there was one interview in which Elon Musk said that we wanted that in order to bring down the cost of the rocket, they said that we looked at rocket at what does a rocket contains? Okay, it contains a rocket engine, and it contains some fuel tanks, and it contains what does a fuel tank contains? It contains aluminum, it contains iron, and it contains carbon. So they went all the way to breaking down as to what are the basic components, and they said how can we recombine the basic components in such a way that they become very, very efficient. So that's the approach we took out here. We said that, okay, what does a wallet contain? A wallet contains, it's a set of private keys. All right. So can we start with the private key itself? So then what we said that, okay, let us have just private keys and not store on the wallet. A person can generate his private key in person. And by the way, all of this is happening on the client side. Okay, none of this is being generated on the server side. So even if it is kind of you're loading this page on a website, we also have a single page HTML version which we can distribute on the WhatsApp. So all of them being done at the client side. So the server is, no one is seeing it. Only you are seeing those private keys and those addresses. And then you simply, you can copy that and save anywhere. You can save it in your text pad. You can save somewhere in wherever you want to keep your secrets. And when an application comes, to just enter your private key, and that will digitally sign the message. And that private key is not coming to the server. Okay, it's staying on the client. And what server is seeing is just the digital signed versions of the data. And from the digital signature, we can find out which flow ID has signed it. And then we can give you access to anything that you're authorized to.
Great. So
and we're storing all this data in IndexedDB. So to make apps easier later on, like if a user doesn't want to put his private key all the time, so we encrypt the private key with a pin. And then so if he clears his cache, or if he uses an incognito tab, then he has to enter the private key again. But otherwise, the private key never leaves his laptop, but he still has a chance to make it like easier. Like just put a 4-digit pin, and his private key just comes in.
Great idea. And I'm assuming I can go to recover flow address, put in my private key here. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a send. I can send to a receiver. I don't have any flow though, so it's not going to let me send anything. And then I'm assuming this is my history, right, under monitor.
No. So you have to add. So what under monitor, what you could do.
I see.
Is you can add any address and read it directly on the blockchain, right? So let's say we have an incorporation blockchain contract with an address. So you can take any flow address in the world, and it will give you all the flow data, which that address has either sent or it has either received.
Let's try it out. Where's the first
put it.
I think it's up here, actually, the incorporation message. So there was the FKN.
Yeah, FKM, use that one. Use the FK. Yeah, FKN. Yeah, take that one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just pulls it right up.
So you can give data. Yeah, that's it.
This is great. So how does this work on the back end? You guys have the FLO blockchain indexed in which database was it again?
We connected to the
flow site.
Talking to flow site, and we are fetching all the messages from the flow site APIs.
Okay, so you guys have your own flow site that's running on DuckDNS, and I see that has a database of all the flow data.
No, but our applications we realize that some of the flow sites go down because flow sites has and that's a problem that we have to solve. See, right now the flow world has two problems to solve. One problem they have to solve is when there is a fork, of more than 2 block lengths, then flow site goes down. So that's a problem that we have to solve. The second problem we have to solve is a 51% attack problem. That's what SkyAngel had to come and he had to rescue Bittrex with. So the two big problems the flow world has to solve right now, but they're both solvable problems. But those that as a community we have to keep in mind that these are two big problems that we have to solve. So what we did was we realized a lot of flow sites are going down. So we had about 4 or 5 different flow sites. So we created a multi-flow site logic. Like if one flow site goes down, it'll automatically switch into a different flow site. If that goes down, it'll go to the third flow site. So we can get all those flow sites. If any one flow site is live, we'll get the data. So that's how we have built our logic.
That's pretty great. I know that we have MLGs has one as well, and I know there's one that's running at just I think Flow.
Right.
On this.
Medici Land has one. Explorer.mediciland.com.
Yeah. So there are a few that are just open
Yeah.
for everybody, and then I guess you're running several yourselves. Very cool. This wallet is great. I haven't there hasn't been a way to very easily send flow data to the chain without using the C++ client. So this is probably the best way to do it. I'm gonna start using this more often. And it's even
Yeah.
better that it has a history here too, which is very cool. Oh, and I can check the balance. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Very cool. And I can save if I want a new label or something. Great. I mean, this is all it needs to be, right? The concept is very simple.
Simplicity is the key. See, now what you have to understand. Okay, now this is no other blockchain.
Rohit, I just want to add here. So, Joey, I think in some time we can also show you what this web wallet can do later. So, as a part of one of our enterprise projects that we are doing, we have also integrated this web wallet to Azure Active Directory, and it goes very well and quite easily into that enterprise interface. So, and all thanks to whatever has been done by the team at RanchiMall, it's actually quite extendable to many different scenarios. So I agree with you. I mean, it's very easy to use, and it goes in automatically with a lot of other tools and apps that you intend to build.
It's great. This is awesome. And then, yeah, like you said, we can make plugins. You can add it into the Office suite. There's probably a million different ways that you can add this. I mean, it's kind of like MetaMask in a way in the Ethereum world, where it could just be applied to pretty much every concept. But it seems to be much more user-friendly because all it really has is the flow data. That's all it needs to make a really powerful application. And it's immediately understandable to everybody that's looking at it. That's a very, very powerful concept. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I know. I just want to also just say that like the what Amitesh between us and Amitesh, what we decided that Amitesh likes to go to enterprise market, so he comes up with enterprise applications of the flow, and we like to go to the consumer market, so we come up with consumer applications of the flow, and so that's the way we collaborate a lot, so and then of course all of this technology is open source. So we also have released what we call as standard flow operations. So from where we learned when we made all of those things, so you could actually the blockchain operations, the cloud operations, and all of them are available as a standard JavaScript function or JavaScript. So you could directly incorporate it in your JavaScript code, so that you don't have to do directly on a UI. You can also directly do on the code backend.
Is that in the code here? Am I looking in the right place?
So this is web wallet, right? So you have to look at standard ops. If you go to RanchiMall GitHub, standard operations.
Let's go back.
It's standard ops is linked here actually. I'm just looking at where.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's
the one. Standard operations. Yeah. So if you look at,
Wow, this is really, really comprehensive. I see. So there's global variables. We have crypto operations. I believe I've seen this file before, and it has some JavaScript in it. Correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you could do digital signature from your Flow ID. You can generate a public key from your private key. You can generate a Flow ID from your private key. All of them are just JavaScript functions.
Yeah. Wow.
We have released those APIs. Yeah.
Is this?
But we have also given cloud and all. Yeah.
Is this
that's the one.
forked from another project, or have you guys written this from the ground up?
This is so basically the crypto operations, that we have taken from the crypto operations has been taken from bitaddress.org, which they had but then we had to extend but everything is ours, like React. So we pick different pieces from different places. So Reactor we use for event management, but everything related to Flow, that's ours from ground up.
Got it. So yeah, I saw Crypto.js here, which is like the standard crypto library.
That's the standard crypto library. Yeah. Crypto stuff is that we took from the Bitcoin and AES we've taken from the Bitcoin, and so that was already available. So there's no point redoing those things.
Yeah, of course.
So but anything which is Flow, That's 100% ours because there's no Flow web library. So
Yeah.
this just does not contain the blockchain operations like writing the blockchain and reading from blockchain. It also contains, there's another exciting concept which I'll talk about, the cloud. So it also have the cloud operations. And beyond clouds, we have also come with an architecture of creating DApps. Of distributed applications. And so all of that is all in a single file. And the moment you have that file, you have all the functions available with you.
Right. That's just one. And then there's a minified version as well, I see here, I think, or it was in the other thing. But yeah, this is great. So now everyone has a reference for how to build a Flow app, not only a description of how to do that, but a technical documentation that gives you a list of all the different methods that are available.
And a template too. Like you can just download that HTML file and then start writing app.
Yeah, this is cool. Great. It was updated 2 days ago. You guys are just doing work. Very awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, here is blockchain-based cloud that you're talking about. What is Supernode storage?
That's correct.
Let's take a look.
So, let's look at that. Yeah. So, okay, now one of the things I was telling you, that suppose you have a tweet, okay, a blockchain tweet, okay, a Flow tweet. Are you going to put it on the blockchain, or are you going to put somewhere else? So what we realized that if you put it directly on the blockchain, there's a price to be paid, right? And so also the capacity of the blockchain. See, blockchain gives you the power of decentralization at a cost, okay, and the cost is the speed, right? I'm not talking the money cost, but I'm talking because it's decentralized, it means it has to be slow. So if you want a fast application, you cannot put that data into the blockchain, right? You can only put the trust data into the blockchain, something that which the entire system derives its trust, that can go into blockchain. But if it is regular running data, that cannot go into the blockchain. So we had to solve that problem as to where do you put the running data. And so we had to create our own cloud, data cloud, in which a Flow ID will digitally sign a message. And then the blockchain cloud will store that message. It will first verify the signature, whether the guy is correct or not. And if the signature is correct, it will store the data under the whosoever is the receiver of the message under his name as signed by the sender. Okay, and so what we had to do was, but we wanted that. See, if you have a centralized cloud, and a decentralized blockchain, then you have lost decentralization altogether. So we had to create an entire new decentralization logic in which you could have something, what we call something as supernode. So you can have one supernode, two supernode, three supernode, four supernodes. You can have 1 million supernodes, and each of those supernodes are allocating data among themselves, and they're also backing up data among themselves. So we took some ideas from BitTorrent. So BitTorrent, they use a concept called distributed hash tables. K-bucket. So what they do is that they split every data into hash tables, and depending upon the nearest hash. Okay, so they run a routing algorithm which is called Kademlia.
Yeah.
And and Kademlia is one of the most efficient routing algorithms. In fact, if internet were to be done once again today, it should not be done under IP protocol. Okay, it should be done under Kademlia, because Kademlia gives you faster routing, and it also gives you single point of failure protection. So you also get complete decentralized, like sensor resistance, and so we built an entire cloud architecture where you can put normal data. A Flow ID, if it doesn't want to put the data onto the blockchain, it doesn't want to pay a price of a blockchain in terms of speed, in terms of cost, then we can simply store the data in our cloud. And what it has to do, it has to simply go to one Flow ID, okay, just one Flow ID. It has to simply send the data to that Flow ID, and the cloud infrastructure will just figure out that what's the right server where the data should go, and it will be stored in that place. And similarly, you can also retrieve the data as well. So that's what it is. It's the full cloud. And so all our intern databases and all our content collaboration databases, they're all stored on the cloud. And we only store critical trust data on the blockchain. So blockchain has a small part, but mostly it comes from the cloud. So blockchain plus cloud, that gives you a complete server infrastructure.
I'm very familiar with the BitTorrent routing. It's like an XOR distance, right? And it just decides
it's exactly.
Yep. Very.
It's just not XOR distance, but it's also log. It does log searches. Log, like suppose you have let's say 1,000 is the number of hops. Let's say 1,000 is the number of hops. So let's say the base is 2 there, but let's say if you take a base of 10, so in 3 rounds you'll find out if there are 100,000 different if there are 1,000 different elements on the cloud, and you want to reach one spot in 3 searches, you will reach it. Okay, so Kademlia gives you it's just not XOR distance, but also log searching, and internet protocol is not log. It's far inefficient than log. It's just a pity that distributed hash tables, and Kademlia came in 2001, because if they had come in 1969 when they were building internet protocol, they would definitely have used IP, and they would not have done. So currently they do what is called as distance vector protocol, in internet routing, and so they just check. So you basically try to go in internet protocol. You're trying to go to one geographical distance closer to the destination, and then you pick one router, then router picks something approximately in the direction of the destination, another router, and then that router picks another router. So it's all approximation based, and then all of them have their inner routing tables, and so from the inner routing table on every router, you have to draw the entire picture of the entire internet. But that is very inefficient.
Yeah.
If they had done Kademlia, Kademlia, CORD, or whatever, there's a family of protocols out here in internet. We would not get a Chinese firewall situation. It was impossible to block any internet traffic if they had done Kademlia. But that was then, 1969 when internet was being built. We didn't have the technology. But we did get this technology, which was used specifically in BitTorrent, and the routing potential of that technology is just phenomenal. So we use that. We use K-buckets,
Yeah.
and K-buckets, the DHT, that library. There's a guy called Tristan Slobinski who has created an amazing library. We use that library to build this cloud.
Very cool. So how does it work? I see it's what.
So
If I run
you
this-
you need to run the supernode, okay? And if you run it, then you are automatically, and then you have to be authorized by the admin flow ID. So every application, it's a DApp, okay? It's a distributed application.
Yeah.
So every distributed application has an admin flow ID. So admin flow ID has to authorize that you are not a intruder.
Right.
Okay. Admin flow ID has to tell you that you are an authorized supernode. So the moment an admin flow ID tells you that you are an authorized supernode, then every single client, will get a list of all the authorized supernodes from the blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
That data is stored in the blockchain.
Yeah.
And then using the XOR distance. So now all of them have flow ID. All right. So every single supernode has a flow ID, and every data also has a flow ID. Okay. Everyone who's sending a data, the guy who's sending a data, he's either sending it to the receiver or he's sending it to from his address. Okay. So every data also has a flow ID. So then it calculates the minimum XOR distance between the flow ID of the receiver and all the flow IDs of the super nodes, and then it finds and then the closest match, that's where the data gets stored, and that's where the data gets fetched also. So this logic is imbibed in the clients, every single client, and the client can figure out in a fabric of, let's say, 10 super nodes or 100 super nodes or 1 million super nodes. Every client would know where exactly every piece of data is on the basis of closest XOR distance.
Got it. So what technology is this built on? If I start up the supernode, how does this work? There's a WebSocket, and then there's some database that I get.
Yeah, you have to. It's just a browser. So it's just so that startup.sh is just to simplify the startup process, but the whole thing is IndexedDB on the browser. So we are using IndexedDB on the browser. So essentially every supernode is a browser, nothing else. It's just browser. It's tying up different browsers. But the problem with browsers is that they do not allow you, so they do not allow you an incoming port. Okay, you cannot open an incoming port directly from the browser. Mm-hmm. So for that we had to find another web server, and we use the Mongoose web server, which can allow incoming ports. So that web server allows incoming port, and then this browser is talking to that Mongoose web server, and that's how a supernode is created. So a supernode has a very small piece of web server software which can understand WebSockets, and then that connects to the supernode, which is just a browser instance, which runs this JavaScript code, and inside the browser you have IndexedDB, which comes part of the which is the database. So most of the blockchains uh, they use level DB, right? They use level DB
Yeah.
as a database, and so we use IndexedDB because it's very easy to start a browser. You just start a browser, link it to a Mongoose Supernode, a Mongoose web server,
Web
and then
server.
your
Website.
Mongoose web server and your Supernode is absolutely ready. You have patched up the fact that a port cannot be opened by a browser. So we have patched up using Mongoose, and then it can start accepting data from the WebSocket and start storing in its local index. That's the architecture.
Got it. Very cool.
Yeah.
I want to try that out sometime. And then the
Yeah,
web
sure.
app server, is this related to that?
Yeah. So now this is like so what we realized that even with cloud, okay, so cloud you have to do a digital signature. Suppose you want to. So the way that our cloud works is that even to make request for a data, you need to have a flow ID, and the flow ID has to digitally sign the request as well. Okay, so that makes it a little bit slow. And suppose you want like very very fast data. How do you access data like really fast? So we did an event called TEDx Kanke, in which people were walking into a booth, and as soon as they scanned their flow ID on the back of their cards, let me just show you. Just give me a moment. I'll show you how it looks like. Just
Yeah,
give me a moment.
sure. Send me a link whenever you're ready.
Pardon me?
Yeah. So this is if you can see this is the TEDx. This is the card that we had given to people, and on the back of the card there's a scan. There's a scanner which is essentially nothing but a flow ID. Okay, so it's the flow ID in this QR code here. And so when people,
are you
Yeah.
presenting, or did you send a link to chat?
no,
Oh, okay. I thought that. Sorry, I thought that you had sent something.
no,
Okay. No, continue.
okay,
No,
okay,
we can't see a video. And we can't see Rohit sir's video.
you can't see my video. Okay, I think
I think I have to stop presenting. You wanted to present your screen, or
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, that's
okay.
now maybe you
All
can
good?
do it. Yeah. So try to.
Yeah. Now we can see you.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
good.
what it was. I see. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. All right, sure, perfect. Oh, okay, because you're presenting on your screen. Okay, so I'm showing you. So we did an event called TEDx Kanke, which was we linked the entry and exit using the FLO blockchain ID. Okay, so was my card.
Cool.
But in the behind of we had a QR code,
Right.
and if you scan this QR code, it's a flow ID. Okay,
I see.
and so this flow ID, it goes to a food stall, and then we know that, and it scans there. We know that the guy has taken food, and he goes and he's a speaker, and he scans in a speaker slot, and all of them can be done on a phone. Okay, so now this kind of data you want instantly. Okay, so like you want on a website that moment someone scans it on a entry gate, you want to know the guy came or not. Okay, so we realized that we cannot do directly on the cloud, because the cloud digitally signs the message and it sends and it reads, just like RIBC. There's a slight time gap out here. So what we said, that if you want instant data, you can directly read it from the IndexedDB. Okay, so I told you we have used IndexedDB in the cloud infrastructure, right? So you can directly read from the IndexedDB and present it as a web server and show it to the end users. So that's what web app server does. It simply reads the IndexedDB of a relevant cloud supernode, and it just presents the data directly to the end user, and that speed and up. So that's what the web app server does. So with the cloud supernode and with the web app server, we get a fast real-time solution using a cloud backend, which gives you data almost on real time. So that's what we did.
Very cool. So you're still using the flow address concept, but it's in a like immediate, an ephemeral way, right? Instead of like putting everything on the chain, you're saying let's use the crypto concepts that are behind flow and the way that flow works, and just make it into like an ephemeral, instantaneous data system. Very cool.
Yeah. See, if you have, let's say, 1 billion people using flow, okay, like
Yeah.
1% of them will come to blockchain,
Yeah. Got it.
and that's a huge mass.
That makes a lot of sense. Not all
Yeah.
data is meant to be on chain. Not all data is meant to be encrypted. Not all data is meant to be plain text. There are certain tools that need to be used for certain jobs, and it's not like a one size fits all solution. You need to engineer the correct solution for the problem that's at hand. All right, I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen because there's so much here. I mean, this is great. Let's see. So we looked at the web app. Architecture, I think, did we read through this already? The architecture? Is this kind of...
So I just add... Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, but as a sudden, I want to tell you a different thing. So now if you look at the US highway system, right, the interstate highway system, okay, why is interstate highway system so efficient? The reason why it is efficient is because we have built standardization in it, right? So you know exactly the width of the road, you know how the exit would look like, you would know how the signboards would look like, you know, the speed, the entire system has been standardized. And because of the standardization which has been done in the interstate system, the US interstate system, it actually drives more than 80% of the US commercial traffic inside the country, right? Like on the roads, you know, not those inner blue roads, you know, just the interstate highway system. So what we said that if you want to build DAS, okay, let not people go and experiment in different places. You just standardize the basic building blocks. And so that's what we did. That's what we did in the FLO distributed application. What we said that we said specifically what exactly a user should do. He should put, number one, the name of the admin FLO ID. Okay, so everything is FLO ID. Like in our architecture, everything is linked to FLO ID. So your admin FLO ID is the guy who decides, who is the ultimate master of everything. Right. So when you are querying in a standard DApp, when you are querying for data, you're basically querying the FLO address of the admin ID. So you'll check in the blockchain the FLO address of the admin ID, and then you will check whatever the admin ID has written, or you will check in the cloud what that admin ID has written. And then admin ID will say other things. So it will say that, all right, I am giving these 5 different FLO IDs some more rights, and these are those rights, you know. And so that every single client, it draws that data either from the blockchain, or it draws the data either from the cloud. So what we said that we standardized the architecture itself. We said that you have an admin ID, then you create something called sub-admins, and put that on the blockchain, and the remaining data you put on the cloud, and we step by step, and then you can start making your UI. We have also standardized UI as well. So there's we have not presented here, but that project is not finished yet. Yeah. So your UI is standardized, your operations are standardized, your architecture is standardized, and all you have to do is to figure out end user case and start building applications. Everything else is standardized. So that's the idea in the idea here.
That's good. I mean,
we do have a standardized UI README with instructions how to make it. So I'll link it on later on, like once we discuss.
Okay, thank you. We have our token transfer system. So yeah, I know that you wrote a little bit about how this is based on natural language, and we went into this before, right? Transfer 100 alpha coins to Romeo. Transfer 100 to Sherlock, etc. Let's see if we can. We went over the data tester. Can we create a token right now?
You can create a token as well, yeah. But you need to have FLO ID. You have to have flows on your address.
Oh yeah, I see. I don't have. Oh, I should have came prepared for that. That's okay. We could do it next time, maybe.
You can tap. But you can use that FLO data tester. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we on FLO data tester.
We went through that before, right? This was like the.
Yeah, you went for that. Yeah, the same thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's like create 1,000 test coins. I got it. Make one now. I'll send some FLO. So is there a creation? Is there somewhere where I can do a creation if someone sends me some FLO? I guess I could do it on the web wallet, right?
Yeah, we can do the web wallet.
Sure. I can send you FLO right now if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
So why don't you go to generate an address on the web wallet, and then Vivek can send you the flows, and then you can just create.
Cool. Yeah, someone's gonna steal the coins. Maybe. I hope not. Here we go. Just do it really quick.
Yeah, you will need an entire week to discuss everything.
I know, right? All right, that's the address. I'll send it in chat as well. I'll be here all week. Don't worry. Okay. So now I have to look at a previous one, so I can kind of match it up. token
No,
creation.
you can simply go to the because simply go to web wallet and you can just write.
Yeah,
And
I'll do a transfer. Does anyone? I want to transfer it to you, Rohit. I know that you have an address that I just went through. Let's pull it up again. The incorporation address.
Yeah.
So we're going to create a token, and then we're going to transfer some to Rohit.
Oh, cool. Perfect. So let me just check how much flow I have here. So,
Cool. We might have to wait a few minutes for
Can you-
the block.
Yeah, you need the blockchain has to.
Can you send me?
Yeah, do you want me to send this to you on Telegram?
Yeah.
What's the best way for me to do that?
Yeah.
I can
Just
do it
give
on
me
my phone.
the. Just give me the.
One sec. Yeah, I got you. Hold on.
So how much flow should I send you? Like one flow?
One is enough, yeah. I can send like 10,000
Yeah.
messages with one flow. Oh,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Vivek, I was thinking more like 500,000.
I don't have
That's our entire
I'll be a
blockchain
millionaire
contract.
somewhere.
That's our entire blockchain contract.
oh no, did I
Flow
lose
blockchain.
it because I refreshed the page? Uh-oh.
Oh, do you remember did you remember the copy of the private key?
No, I didn't copy the private key.
Okay, so don't send
Hey,
there.
so that's a scary thing. Like you don't want to generate a private key in the stream, so everybody can copy it.
Oh no, but I refreshed the page.
So generate a new one. We can. I think you're not still flow yet, right?
Sorry for
Okay,
the
and
win.
copy the private key.
Yeah.
Yeah, copy the private key also.
I can
It's okay.
still see your. I can still see it.
Don't worry. Just don't worry. So it's okay.
We need a new address. Sorry.
It's
about that.
just one flow there.
Yeah, I pressed refresh because I thought it might update the balance. And I'm
Okay,
gonna write
okay.
the private key down in like a VI or something.
Hey,
Just try it.
maybe you should stop presenting before you.
No. It's just
can't.
it's just one flow, right?
It's
Just
send
one flow, right?
flow. It's fine.
It's just one flow. We'll use only for no worry. People let people know the process, right?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Got it.
And you can copy the flow address also. So that
Yeah.
although you can recover it also. Yeah.
Let's put it there.
Just
Thank you, Channing. Channing is sending some flow, so that should go through pretty soon.
Oh,
In the meantime, let's talk.
I can send you some flow. I have some. So she's sending you the flow.
Channing, Channing sent some flow already. He's got it
Okay,
covered.
perfect.
Thank you. He's on the stream. I'm just watching
Awesome.
it. All right, let's talk about something else in the meantime. So I'm assuming when the flow goes through, this will get updated.
No, you have to write the flow address there. You just write the flow address in the check balance.
Oh, I see. So I have to
Just copy the flow address. Yeah. In the
Okay.
check balance.
So then,
Or
when
just do that.
it goes through, we'll check it. Okay, let's
Yeah, I'll check it.
move on, and then
Let's
we'll
talk.
come back to that.
Yeah. Okay.
So what's next? There's so much here. We went through
Yeah.
RIBC and the internship stuff. Oh, the Indian
Yeah.
election. Yeah, let's talk about this a bit because this was pretty
The
significant.
smart
right?
contract. The smart contract. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we talked about blockchain contract. Okay. Now we're talking about we just did not go the blockchain contract. We also actually did a smart contract as well. Okay. The smart contract, the way we thought it should be done. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is smart contract in which this is where the machine decides everything. Okay. There's no human intervention here. Okay. So the machine decides everything paradigm. Okay.
Okay.
So what we said is, so we said that, so if you look at Ethereum at this point of time, in Ethereum, a smart contract, anyone can create any kind of smart contract, okay? And he can create a code, and that code can do whatever the code has to do. And the basic logic in a in a normal Bitcoin blockchain, you need a private key to be able to send Bitcoin tokens from one address to another address. Without private key, you cannot do it. So the basic idea in Ethereum is that you don't need a private key at all. Okay. The only way to withdraw, so there are two kinds of addresses in Ethereum. One is a smart contract address, and one is a normal address. So a normal address you can transfer Ethereum using a private keys, but which is a smart contract address, then only the code can deposit. The tokens, the flow tokens, and only the code can withdraw those tokens, right? So what we had to do is we had to upgrade FLO blockchain. FLO blockchain is not ready for that. FLO blockchain is a Bitcoin fork, okay? and so FLO blockchain was not really ready for that kind of situation. So what we had to do is once we created a token system, then we said that on every token system you can also attach a smart contract system. And what essentially it means is that if you create a smart contract on a token system, then that smart contract address, from the given language constructs that we have given, you can put in the tokens and you can withdraw tokens out of it. Okay. Now, for the smart contract, you cannot use FLO at all. You have to use a token created under a token transfer system. So, like now, if you create any token here, that whatever you will create, and that will have a smart contract system. So in this case, we use RMT. Okay, so we created a smart contract, and we said create a smart contract with the name India Elections 2009 of the type one-time event using the asset RMT at the address, which is the FLO address, with the contract conditions. Contract amount is 0.001 RMT. User choices is Narendra Modi wins or Narendra Modi loses. And expiry time, there's a given expiry date. So what this smart contract is one of the standard template smart contract that we are giving. And what the smart contract does is that on a given, people they choose certain option. Okay, so Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India, and there was an election going on, so they can choose whether Narendra Modi is going to win the election or is going to lose the election. And in case Narendra Modi wins the election, then everyone who selected Narendra Modi wins. They get all the tokens. Tokens gets allocated to the guy, to the pool that has won. If you understand, what you said, okay. That's what it is. No, so now one of the big change we did, like what we also wanted to make sure that our system cannot be used to create a fraud. Okay, so what we said that in Ethereum, a smart contract creator can withdraw his these tokens to any address. Okay, he likes as per the code. In this smart contract system, okay, we created a concept called a committee. Okay, committee is like an oracle. Okay, it's a distributed oracle. Okay, and so in our smart contract, the smart contract creator can lock the tokens, but he cannot unlock it. Unlock can only either happen either through a trigger condition on the smart contracts, and then the trigger condition decides where the token goes to, or the unlocking can be done only through an oracle or a trigger, and which means that any condition that you have written in the smart contract, okay, those conditions will have to be met. The creator cannot, under any circumstances, a creator cannot cheat people out of his tokens. He can only create a smart contract, but the distribution logic is standardized, is templated. And the distribution logic only gives only one of the possible smart contracts that we have given as a standard smart contract. So in this case, it's kind of a winning pool. Winning pool gets the entire winnings. Whosoever wins the choices out there. So now this will directly go to the address. The distribution of this smart contract will directly go to the address of the people who selected Narendra Modi wins. And who tells Narendra Modi wins? That feed cannot come by the smart contract creator. That feed will come through a neutral guy, which is selected by the community. Okay, so we have a community which will create a smart contract committee, and that's a standardized. It's exactly one guy. So then our smart contract system trusts only exactly one guy, which is the committee, and the committee, whatever the committee feeds in, the committee says Narendra Modi won. The moment it says Narendra Modi won, the distribution will go to the people who have said Narendra Modi won directly to the FLO address.
Got it. So that's basically the decision maker or the committee does the transfer of the funds, right? Or, well, actually, how does it work?
Or the trigger. So suppose if there's a trigger which is automatic. Okay, if you don't, in this case, we need an external guy to tell the blockchain whether Narendra Modi won or not. So in that case, the trigger is going to come externally. But there's some cases like you could have a Vivek, go ahead, Vivek. Yeah.
So any contract which requires a condition which has to come from outside the blockchain or which cannot be digitally measured, there we need a committee.
Yeah.
So if you have an expiry time, or if you have a date, or if you have something like, okay, take crowdfunding, for example. So you can, somebody can put a crowdfunding smart contract and say, okay, I need to have minimum number of, like I want, my aim to crowdfund is probably 100,000 tokens, RMT tokens, but the minimum number of RMTs which I require for this contract to be acceptable by this expiry date is suppose 10,000. So that contract doesn't need any trigger. Like those things can be measured inside the system only. So in that case, we don't need one. So that's what Rohit sir was talking about, like automatic triggers and then triggers which come from outside.
Got it. Yeah, so you're covered in both cases here. Great.
Yes, in all cases, there is no way, like the system is going to guarantee that the distribution is going to go to the rightful winners. There is no condition under which a smart contracts creator can cheat the people who are participating. So we have taken away every single possibility in which a cheating can happen. So no combination of code, no matter what code you write, there's absolutely no way. So that essentially increases the trust of the smart contract. So there's absolutely no way by which a smart contract can divert the funds to any address except as per the rules that we are setting. And the rules we are setting is that the winnings will only go to the participants automatically through the trigger, which could be an automated trigger or it could be a Oracle trigger. And Oracle is the committee.
Got it. So then, yeah, you can build a system for prediction based on this, or like an automatic payout scheme of some sort, like crowdfunding,
automatic,
like you had mentioned.
Crowdfunding,
yeah,
crowdfunding, certain event funding or minimum, and we have created some conditions like if a minimum amount is met, the funds will go to the authorized recipient, or it will come back automatically to the giver. So we have built a lot of combinations, and so we have built like we have only built maybe about 10 templates out there, but we believe those 10 templates can handle 99% of smart contract cases.
Got it. This is great. Okay, what else? Oh, actually, let's see if the balance went through. Oh, not yet. It's probably still confirming.
Okay.
Wallet is ready. Maybe it needs, I don't know how many confirms the wallet is checking for.
I think two or three only. That's it. That's not
okay.
Much,
So maybe we'll wait a little longer.
Yeah.
What is this? Content collaboration. There's a sample application.
No. Yeah. So let's go there. Let's go.
Okay. Let's be
Okay,
a guest.
log in. Yeah. Login as guest. So people now. So you could see they're working on an article called Ayodhya. They're contributing. This is Ayodhya is a hot topic in India right now.
What is this?
So you just click on Ayodhya. Just click here on top. So you can see there's some articles there. So they are the articles that people are collaborating right now. So you could say, you could pick any of those articles there. Yeah. AirAsia, view.
What is Ayodhya? What is this about?
It's a city in India, and in which there's a temple being built, and that temple is being built on top of a mosque, which is creating a lot of controversy in India.
Oh, I see.
So it's a hot topic. Now if you can see, so what we've done is there's a vertical section and there's a horizontal section.
Yeah.
So these are all different sections, subsections. So we went to Twitter and find out what are the keywords that people are looking in Twitter and Google. So we found out Ayodhya, Ram Mandir, whatever keywords we found, we wrote a section out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Birthplace, importance. Okay. August 5, something happened. So all these keywords have come from Twitter, and that's the masjid is a mosque. Airport, attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the different subsections under which the people are collaborating. Okay, and if you go in a single section, you can see the flow ID out here. They're logging on the flow ID and they're contributing content. Okay, everyone is a flow ID there on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are contributing content. Okay, and now if you do you could select any one of them. Just select out of there. Just select any of them. Now you can select any of them and take first and go down and do some random selections. Okay, do some random selections in different content plate. Just do some random selections. Yeah, do some random selections. Okay, and then do an export from file. Export as file on top. Yeah. Okay, and open that. So now you got the entire article there.
Wow.
So that's an article that can publish directly.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
So
It's a real life application.
yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I like this grid. It's intuitive. Like I got it as soon as I saw it. I was like, I see what's going on here. Although at first, coming as a programmer, I thought this was like the diff between these two versions. But I can see that it's not a diff. They're actually different pieces of content under the same category. So this is, I don't know what this is, but there's one about the birthplace, right? And then each of the horizontal sections is a different piece of content having to do with this birthplace.
And not only that, so if you go to any content, if you go, you can now go and clear the selection. If you go on top and clear the selection.
Yeah.
Okay. You take any content plate. Okay. Take any content plate, change a word. No, don't select it. Don't select now.
Oh.
You don't have to select it now. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So just clear again. Okay. Just make a line. Just add your name there. My name is Joey. Something like write something like that. There. My name is Joey. Okay. Okay. And now say submit. Okay.
To add a new one.
So now you go to the extreme right, and this new content will come. If you refresh, okay, you have to refresh it because in the cloud you have to refresh it once. Sorry, you have to refresh it once. Yeah, you have to refresh it once. So now essentially you can go to any content plate and submit. So basically, suppose you want to make a small grammatical correction, or you want to make 2 or 3 lines changes. You can take any content plate, make some changes, and then you get a new content box.
Yeah, I see. Very cool.
Yeah.
This is great. I really like this app. I feel like we would use this for FLO. So can I add a section somewhere on here? Is it at the bottom, or how do I?
So now since this is a collaborative app, so we have only give those rights to
I see.
the sub-admins, because it's a collaborative, so anyone can change this. So that it's a blockchain-driven app, so the blockchain decides who are the IDs that can add those sections, and so everyone can collaborate.
Right.
But what articles get published there, and what that is decided by the blockchain. So the blockchain writes the name of the FLO IDs that are authorized to create new articles and add new sections.
Yeah.
And if you log in as then you can do that. So we can have your ID added as a sub-admin.
These are all recent things too, right? Like this is probably about what is it? The line of total control or something, right? What is that?
That is what exactly. Sorry.
Yeah. This is really cool. So then, you can just write really quickly. Yeah. And then I'm assuming over here, this is an article that this is like what's on?
Yes. That's right.
What's the RanchiMall times? I clicked on that and it went back to the same page.
I think the article link is wrong.
Shit.
Yeah. That's the wrong link.
Just write ranchimall.github.io/articles. You'll get that link.
Okay. Let's do that.
Just write articles. Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Very
because
cool.
The date is wrong. These are all the articles that we uploaded.
I love
coming
this.
from the content collection.
I'm gonna start reading the RanchiMall times.
Yeah. So this project is only about a month old. It's a month old right now. But we'll publicly launch it. But I'm just training we had to train some interns again coming from RABC. We're training some interns to understand the system and then write good articles. And once that is ready, then we'll be public with it. But
Great.
It's a technology back.
Looks like a real paper. Look at this.
It's
very cool. I mean, and then it's just created through this very simple system. I mean, that's the thing about really powerful software is you can make a very comprehensive system and then put it together in a package that looks like this, and it's really effective at making something valuable. I think that's really cool. Awesome. Very cool. Oh, there's more here. I remember FLO WhatsApp, but what's FLO Torrent? Let's look at FLO Torrent really quick. It's a GitHub page.
Okay.
So what was the idea behind this?
Yeah. So the idea is, we were testing as suppose like your FLO is only allowing 1080 characters, right? I mean, so there's a limitation of how much data you can put.
Yeah.
Now a typical we thought that why don't we put the torrent files directly on the blockchain? Okay. So suppose you get let's say a 50 kilobyte. A torrent file can range from like 10 kilobytes to 100 kilobytes. Okay. So suppose you get a 50 kilobytes, of a single torrent file. Then you would have to pass in roughly 50 to 55 messages in the blockchain. Okay. So what the technology that we are testing here was how can you link multiple messages, okay? And like how can you split into small messages, and then how can you link all of them so that it can be retrieved as a single file from the blockchain, that you can store the entire big file into the blockchain. So we use a torrent as an application because we thought that torrent has some user base, but we never went public with it because of like all the sensitivity attached to copyrights and all. But we just wanted to check the technology here. But we also have, if you go from GitHub and download the whole HTML5 and run on it, you can actually see the torrent. So if you go to FLO torrent, torrentz.html, okay, this is the uploader. So you go to the second file from list, go there, and if you can download that HTML, copy whatever you do, raw copy.
Should I just get the whole thing? What if I clone the whole thing?
Get the whole thing.
Yeah, just clone.
Get it. Just get it. Let's get it.
Do I have a FLO folder? This is a new computer. Yeah, I do. Do I have GitHub? No. Okay. So I'm gonna go to this one.
Open that. FLO torrent. Yeah, open this.
Cool.
And so this is a little bit. Yeah. So these are all the torrent files. Okay, click on any of those links, and you can go and just download the torrent.
This is a great.
That's the full torrent. Yeah, and this is coming directly from the blockchain. Okay.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't have a torrent.
Entire torrent.
Yeah, but if I had a torrent thing, I could open this and it would start downloading, right? Oh, I do have transmission. All right, let's get Django and
Yeah,
Sweet.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we're using the blockchain as an index for torrent hashes, right? So I'm assuming I can go to. It's not here, but I could probably search. I'm just gonna pause this now, so I don't get my ISP calling me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically all of these hashes are on the FLO blockchain, and then this is pulling everything up. I can search. Very cool. Yeah, great. Do transformers, of course. This is awesome. Yeah, this is like a very, very good use case for FLO, right? So
yes,
what we need a decentralized torrent tracker. Pretty much all the torrent trackers that exist currently live on centralized servers like the Pirate Bay and some private trackers. This could be very popular. I'm running this locally, but it could be very easily put up online on a new URL. And the website being seized doesn't actually... So, like, for example, if the Pirate Bay is taken down, right, then everyone loses that database of metadata where torrents point to. But if FLO torrents is taken down, the torrent links are still active. People just need to use this software to pull it up. So it's not like there's like an entire database that everyone needs to maintain. So like if the Pirate Bay goes down and I want to make a new Pirate Bay, I would have to have the torrent tracker software. And that contains all the metadata. Now it's like, who owns that metadata, right? In this case, all I need is to pull up the FLO blockchain using any FLO block explorer, using any piece of software that connects to the FLO network. It can't be stopped. It can't be taken down. This is a great concept for something that.
Yeah.
But
so
obviously, you don't want to put it online, right?
We don't want it. Yeah, but so essentially, in torrent technology, in torrents, everything has been decentralized. Okay, except the torrent file. Okay, the torrent file has to be kept in some central location. So we just thought that since FLO as a blockchain itself is decentralized, and if you could directly store the torrent itself on the FLO blockchain, so it will decentralize the torrent itself, and it will decentralize the entire torrent system. This is the last mile decentralization for torrents, which we use using the FLO block.
I'm gonna send this to some people. They might put their own versions online, even if you guys don't want to do that.
Yeah. So all they have to do is to use the FLO torrent uploader, and they can start uploading.
Very cool. Oh, Channing said there's 30 confirms. Let's check the wallet.
Okay.
For some reason it's not.
Okay. I think we have another FLO wallet. Can you see can you send a new link? The link for the GitHub. I think there's a problem with this software. I think there's something wrong here.
Yeah. Do you want me to just? Oh, is it on your?
Can you? Is the block? Has the block been uploaded Like, has the block been accepted on Flow side?
Yeah,
Can you check on
so
Flow side?
For the Win said that it has 30 confirms already. Let's see. Let's just
Yeah,
let's
it's
do some
very
live
Okay.
debugging.
it's very rare.
32 confirms now.
Okay.
Is the same
So
address you're
I
looking
think
at? No, where's the address here?
The address
just want to check
is
that.
this one, FJZ.
Yeah, just can you check that one? Yeah,
Right.
just can you check that?
Whoa, that was weird.
Where's the address?
Okay. Yeah, it says total received 10 flow, and then that is
Okay,
the
and how many
address.
confirms? How many confirms? Okay. Okay, it's very strange. Okay, it should not happen that way.
okay, we can try another link, which is
Yeah, give the second link.
ranchimall.github.io, and I think it's /flow web wallet. Let me just check. Just
Slash flow web wallet.
Is it
yeah,
one word?
/flow dash web wallet.
Flow dash bubble.
Flow dash
web wallet. Web wallet. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you check here?
Yeah.
Middle button.
Let's grab the address. Oops. It's not working. That's okay. Live demo.
Okay, we'll just fix it out.
We
okay,
found a
okay.
bug. I'm QA
We found the
testing.
bug.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it never happened before. I'm just surprised. So why?
No problem.
But we'll just.
So we got Flow WhatsApp and Flow Twitter. Do you guys?
Yeah.
It's been 2.5 hours almost. Are we good to continue? It's up to you. It's getting late there.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine to go with that.
I'm fine as well.
Cool.
I mean, you don't get such opportunity, so let's just finish it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's Flow WhatsApp? Tell me about this.
Okay, so
Joe, can you send me that address on Hangouts so that I can see on the site?
Yeah.
Like, I can check on the side.
Yeah. You're on the server right now.
Yeah.
Do you see the chat?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
I put it in there.
Yep.
okay, so Flow WhatsApp. Okay, so this is something which we're doing pretty early. Okay, so essentially this was done when we didn't have the cloud, and we're doing it like one of the early days. Okay, so in Flow WhatsApp, our idea was we will link your Flow ID to your Tor ID. Okay. Because a Tor also has you can generate an onion address, so you can generate an onion address.
Yeah,
So what we'll do is in the Flow blockchain, we will we will make a mapping in the Flow blockchain as a Flow data field. We will make a mapping between your Flow ID and your Tor ID, and every user will give him a software that will automatically start a Tor using the Tor ID which he has entered in the Flow blockchain. So with your Flow ID, you will be able to directly reach and directly route any receiver on another Flow ID mapped using his Tor ID. I don't know if it was complicated or not, but essentially, okay, let me say that once again. So, yeah. Okay, so essentially, see, one of the problem of internet is internet has most of the IPs are dynamic IPs, right? So you do not. It's very difficult to do one-to-one communication on internet. As of this, one of the flaws of internet that you cannot directly do one-to-one communication. Or you need because everyone in the world does not have a static IP. Okay, they get a dynamic IP. So it is impossible to locate any person to person. So the only way at this point of time, the only large enough network that can give people a unique ID that they can themselves generate is the Tor network. Okay, so the Tor network gives you an onion address and which you yourself generate, and it is directly routable. Okay, using the Tor network. So in case of Flow WhatsApp, what we did, we created a WhatsApp clone. And if you install the software, this is software installation. If you do that installation of software, and we have released an Android version as well, and we have released a Unix version and Windows version and all that stuff. So if you you have a WhatsApp looking like client, but when you are sending a WhatsApp message to another Flow address, it will go and look at the Flow blockchain and find out its Tor ID mapping and directly route it to a Tor ID. So essentially, you don't need a centralized WhatsApp system like today. Right now, WhatsApp has a centralized server cloud system. You can directly give a WhatsApp message from one Flow ID to other Flow ID directly one-to-one without any server. So that was the idea in the Flow WhatsApp. It's a direct one-to-one communication between two people without DHCPs, directly without any. So that's what we did. So if you do all that, you can do all that stuff.
Very cool. I want to go through this maybe in the next podcast that we do.
Sure,
But this
sure.
install process, yeah, it could take a little while. Looks
This will
good
take a
though.
time. Yeah.
It looks just like WhatsApp here. I like it.
It was like, yeah, this was so.
Very cool. What encryption algorithm did you use? Is it based on?
No, we use the standard. No, we're using so we're using AES. For asymmetric key encryption, we are using AES.
Okay.
And for symmetric key encryption, we are using AES.
Yeah.
And for asymmetric key, we are using exactly the Bitcoin algorithms.
Okay.
The way, yeah.
Hey Joe, sorry to interrupt, but I just checked the address on my web wallet and I can see 10 flow actually.
Really?
So probably you could try it on incognito or something.
Oh yeah, it might be this again. Yeah, let me go into incognito and we'll try it out. How do I do that? It's like this, right? Is it loading up incognito? Here it goes. Okay. Yeah, it might have been. Close this one.
Yeah, it could be some. We have to find out what is that. We'll do that.
Yeah, I think it was an extension
Yeah, there you
blocking it. All right.
Yep,
It was it was a my end user error. Okay. Let's see.
Hang on.
Oh, sure.
Let's go through. Let's finish up talking about WhatsApp real quick, and then we'll do this. So yeah, it uses the
Cool.
There's a signing algorithm that's it's an ECC
Yeah, no, so,
algorithm.
okay, no. Okay, so let me go back to that as well. No, so essentially, in case of Bitcoin blockchain, there is no encryption, right? They only it's only signatures. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had to create a version of Diffie-Hellman key exchange using elliptical curve keys. So we had to extend the Bitcoin algorithm to create an encryption mechanism. So we use a library from Tom Wu, and we extended that, and we created our own encryption mechanism. It uses a standard algorithm. It uses Diffie-Hellman key exchange using elliptical curve keys, and then you have to introduce randomization. So one of the problems in encryption is suppose it's possible to do a replay attack. So suppose there's an attacker, and that can intercept the message, encrypted message. He can replay the same message, and if he replays the same message, then at a later point of time, it looks like it has come from the original guy who encrypted it. So to solve that problem, you have to introduce randomization and time element. So we did all that. So we defeated all possibilities of a replay attack in the encryption algorithm. So essentially, we are using key exchange, a Diffie-Hellman key exchange, using elliptical curve cryptography for encryption.
Got it. I'm gonna try this out later, and maybe we'll do
Yeah.
a blog post or another thing about it. Yeah, next
Sure.
week. And then there's
Okay,
Twitter.
sure.
Hey, you guys are fulfilling the dream of Sky Angel. So tell me about this.
So this is again. So this is again before the cloud came. So in cloud is very, very simple. So essentially we used the Tor network. So essentially a guy who wants to tweet a Twitter server. Okay, so you have to set up a server onto an onion address, and everyone who wants to tweet something. So people are and ordinary users, they have to follow different onion addresses, and they can get all these tweets. So we give a UI which looks like exactly like Twitter, but essentially in the backend they are going to different onion addresses, and all those onion address, the mapping between the onion address and the flow address is maintained in the blockchain.
Yeah.
So you go and read the blockchain, you find the right onion address, and from that onion address download all the tweets. So again, it makes the Twitter entirely decentralized and directly one-to-one. So your tweet and exactly and so there's no centralized policies, and there's no one. It's what the guy says and what the guy follows. No one can do anything about it. It's just one-to-one communication.
Very cool. I'm gonna check this out too. Maybe we can use some of this for Bird App eventually. Bird App is the OIP version of Twitter that we're thinking about. If you guys have already done some work here, we can extend it. Awesome.
Yeah. So one of the thing with this is that people have to install Orbot on their phone, or they have a small installation in which they have to have a Tor installation.
Yeah.
So what we're thinking that we'll come up with a cloud version of it. Now that we have our own cloud, a cloud version of it in which there's no installation needed. You can simply log in using your private key and you can access the tweets.
Makes
so that's
sense.
why Yeah. But still, this is fully ready. With a correct UI, if someone is small, it's a little bit technical enough, he can install. If you can install Tor, then we can. The rest of the thing is very easy out here. So just a single. It's a very simple installation.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna install this later too. All right, and then we have FLO Bank. I haven't heard.
So
of
this is okay. So this is our movement. So in the DeFi space, we have two applications. One is a bank, and then we have an exchange.
Okay.
And so this bank is not complete yet; it's still under construction. But this is like so one of the things that you can do in case of a blockchain bank, like current banks. What is a bank? Like the bank gives. It takes money from the depositors and give it to lenders, okay? And then it takes money from depositors at a small rate and it gives it to lender at a higher rate, and it captures the difference in rates, and that's the profits of the bank, right? So that's what a bank do. It takes money from depositors and give it to lenders. So you can do the same thing on the blockchain. You can create a set of rules where there'll be some people who will be lenders and there's some people who will be depositor, and then you can create a rule for collaterals, and then you can essentially create almost a fraud-free system of lending and depositing, and so that's what we are doing here. And also in the current day banks, like if you get interest monthly or quarterly. In case of blockchain, we can do interest which is compounded continuously, right? And if you do compounded continuously, then a person can put money only for like 15 days, and you'll get interest for just for 15 days. Or if you want to put money for 15 seconds, you will get money only for 15 seconds. So that's a value add over current day banking system. So this is not complete yet. We have just built some of the functions, but the front end UI is not done. So there's work out here. But we just wanted to put it that this is a project which is ongoing. So that's the bank that we are doing.
We'll check back later. I'm sure it'll be done soon. We have a distributed exchange, so we have local Bitcoins.
So if you go to plus. So that's an exchange that you could do. You could just use a sign.
I might have to disable this again, or go to incognito.
Oh, go incognito,
Yeah, let's do that, actually. I think it's just going to go over here.
Okay, so this is just an exchange. So see the problem in current exchanges is all the exchanges are centralized. Okay, so that makes them vulnerable to all the government regulations and all that stuff. So but it's like in India, for instance, every person, the bank account, they're like you have something called you can do electronic fund transfers, okay, directly from so people can directly fund transfer among themselves using a single ID, okay. So what we are saying here is that if you set up, this is a blockchain-driven exchange in which all the rules are on the blockchain, and so you draw prices from, let's say, you can draw prices from CoinMarketCap and freeze that price for 1 hour, and in that price, any buyer and seller they can exchange in standard amounts. They can exchange, let's say, suppose you have a trading bucket of $100. So in $100, they can come and exchange, buy and sell 100. So right now we're doing FLO and Bitcoin. Bitcoin we have not done, but we've done FLO, and that we've done only the Indian rupee. We are not yet integrated with the US dollar. So people can, it's essentially a decentralized exchange without any installation, just on the web, only on the web ID, but all the trading amounts are standardized. And so one of the problem of current decentralized exchange is that you have to pick every buyer. Like if you go to local Bitcoin plus, you have to pick every buyer and seller individually. Okay, so that makes it, you may not get the volumes that you need. But in this case, you will definitely get the volumes because you are not buying and selling from an individual. You are buying or selling from the cloud itself. From the cloud, the group of individuals. So it simplifies the decentralized the process itself.
Got it.
It's kind of, we'll have another session and we'll talk about it. This needs a full session.
This is, but I get the idea. If I want to sell, I add my FLO here. It goes into the pool of total available FLO, and a buyer buys from the pool, I'm assuming. Something like that.
Yes, and the buy from the pool and in standard amount. So you will say that the trading amount is $100 or $1,000.
Yeah.
So there are 15 people at $1,000, and they're all buying and selling among themselves. So it makes it easy to immediately do a trade.
That's a great concept. I know that packs full local Bitcoins, you have to chat with the other person. But if you standardize the amount, then you lower the friction of that communication. That makes
you're standardizing the amount, and you're also taking away the selection of the person. The system is selecting the person for you, and the system is standardizing the amount for you. So that means you will definitely get a decentralized trade.
That's awesome. I want to see that working. I want to use it.
Yeah.
And we have another app here, the log sheet.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is a. sign in as a guest again.
It's like you can say it's like an Excel, like it's like Google Sheets on the blockchain.
Right.
And so you can go to one of the Twitter target users. You go to one of those sheets. You have to click on the
I think I gotta
bottom
go
right hand
back
side.
here again,
Oh,
just in case there's some
okay, yeah.
weirdness. Okay, so where do I go?
Go. Click on the sheet. There are multiple sheets. Go to Twitter user. There are multiple sheets there. Click a sheet. Yeah. Now go there. So these are the sheets. Okay.
Got it. I see.
Okay. And then you can group by and you can add and sum. Count and average.
Interesting.
All through the blockchain.
Right.
Yeah, very well.
So it brings everything up. There's a filter
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Cool. So this is just oh wow, it goes down pretty far.
Yeah. So all right. So now this takes to another concept, and the concept is that suppose you have a block. Suppose you want to build a database using distribute like blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
So you have different blockchain users, and all those blockchain users are contributing. They are like trusted users, and they are contributing a shared data, making a shared data. So you can make a market data of all the automobile research in the world. Okay, and people are contributing their small data pieces. Okay, now is the shared data more so because all of them is coming from an authorized flow ID, you can attach them weights. You can say that data coming from one guy is more trustworthy than data coming from other guy. Okay,
Yeah.
and then you can build a shared data which is extremely trustworthy, not anonymous, and then you can assign value to the data itself. You can assign some valuation to the data itself. So the theoretical concepts much beyond than having a Google sheet. It takes the principles of the blockchain to build shared data like Wikipedia. Like Wikipedia has a shared article. So here you have shared data coming from different blockchain ID, and then from that you can give incentives like the people in the list. Someone has done good work or great work, or someone has contributed more good quality data. You can pay him more flows or more money. So it's building shared databases using the incentive system of blockchain using flow IDs.
Incredible. So it's like a spreadsheet.
And
it's a database.
also you have linked this to the labor market system, which we're going to talk about.
Yeah, so we did a labor market system. I think that data is not there yet. Yes, So so we don't have a So we've not. So basically, one of the things in India is that a lot of poor people and they work on labor markets, but they don't get paid. So what we are saying is that we are bringing all the labor buyers and labor supply laborers on through the flow blockchain, and the buyers will come to the system, and like the people who want the laborers, they will come to the system, but they won't pay the laborers directly. Okay, they'll simply come to the system. They will select the best laborer. Okay, so suppose there are 1,000 people and there's data filled in that who is the best guy available. So they'll automatically get allocated the best laborer, and the laborer will finish the work. And as soon as he's finished the work, the laborer gets paid directly to his flow ID. So he's not dependent on the. That's a huge problem in India. Like people take the laborer, but they don't pay the money. So the laborer can be paid directly there, but we can rate the performance of the employers, and we can rate the performance of the laborers on the flow log sheet and directly allocate the best to each other and directly make payments between each other.
Yeah, I can see how this ties into that, right?
Yeah.
So the laborers would have a very simple mobile device that's able to load up this screen. Pretty much any mobile device these days can do that. They'll have a flow balance. They can exchange it for cash. This is I can start to see how this is coming together. Very cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a messenger too.
And like,
do you want to continue on that?
Those laborers, like,
yeah, go ahead.
those laborers, like most of them, they wouldn't be able to use a mobile phone also. So what we have done is we have made like small cards, like envelopes, and then we give them QR code printed, like the public key and private key, like in the card.
Yeah.
So whenever they go to somebody's house, they open the card a little bit and then they show the public key, and the guy who's employing it scans. So like the whole system is based on QR.
So it needs flow. It needs the phone. It needs the device only on the part of labor buyers, not on behalf of laborers themselves. Laborers can
Right.
They just need a card. That's it.
Right. They could just have a sheet of paper with a private key or a QR code. That's incredible, and it works. It works very well with this exchange because If you pay someone $100 for a day's work or something like that, they get the card.
Yes.
It's worth $100. It's
Right.
immediately tradable here. Incredible.
Yeah.
So that,
Yeah.
wow, I'm really excited to see that happening. And I can see how Flow fits in there as well, because if you pay someone on Bitcoin, you might pay a $10 fee or something like that, right? Where that doesn't make sense. It's 10% of their labor. They're not going to want to have to pay that fee. If you use Flow, then they're paying a fee that's less than 1/10 of a cent. So I could see how that's advantageous as well.
That's correct.
Cool. All right, last one here. We got Messenger. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
I'm also going to open it up in the other tab just in case. I haven't seen this yet. Let's sign in
And
as a guest.
I just want to say before we go in
Yeah.
that there's a very crazy new UI coming for this. Like it's not out yet. Like the guy who's making UI, he sent some screenshots. So yeah, so just keep a watch on that.
All right. What? So I have a
So
mailbox.
Flow Messenger is basically you can send emails and you can do direct messages to any Flow ID. So earlier we had done it using the Tor ID. So this is directly using the cloud. So any Flow ID can send message to any Flow ID without having any Flow balance. They can directly send a message to any Flow ID using our cloud, and they can also send a direct message. Any Flow ID can send a direct message to any Flow ID. So that's the concept here.
I'm sending you a message, Rohit. Where are you? There you are.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works.
That's RanchiMall.
Type it. Wait, who am I sending to? Do I add a contact?
Yeah, so first you have to add a contact. You have to add a contact and say Rohit, maybe. Yeah, oh, no, that's RanchiMall actually. Yeah, this is RanchiMall address. So anyway, yeah, this is
Sending it to
RanchiMall. Yeah,
RanchiMall.
this is incorporated. Yeah, RanchiMall address. Okay. Yeah, and now on the contact you can
Hey,
just
should I
send a message.
should I log in so that I can send a message to you?
Yeah, we can just see how it works, because I'm watching at the screen out here. Yeah, but you can just send a message and it'll go there,
Cool.
And
I'm
so the
assuming
first
you got
message
it.
will not be encrypted.
Right. Yeah.
And then you can also send emails.
Just
And
like
then and the
it's-
second message,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Cool.
the email also.
So can I choose a? I guess I'll just copy and paste it.
Yeah. When I log, I'll just.
This is great. And then I can reply. So, is this stored in local storage, or does this get like where is this stored?
So it's
cloud.
temporarily stored in the cloud. It's temporarily stored in the cloud, and once the reader, so the message stays in the cloud for 1 week, and but the moment you get when you download it locally, it's stored in your local index DB. So it's basically stored on your local browser, local index.
And if I'm running
all the messages.
is it called a super node or a web app or web node? Like if I'm running
This
my
is
own
this
cloud
is
node?
yeah. The super node is part of the cloud. So you think that the cloud is just the cloud is just holding it temporarily because the other guy may not be online. Like I'm right now not online, so you send me a message.
Yeah.
So it's stored in the cloud, and then the other guy comes and download the message in the cloud. It will be deleted from the cloud, but it will stay in your local index DB.
Got it.
So you have the message.
I'm gonna start using this. I mean, it looks great already. If there's a UI update that's coming, I'm impressed. All right, so we've gone through everything, but I wanted to try this out to create. I'm gonna create a new token.
Yeah.
So the receiver is myself, right? So
Receiver could be yourself. Yeah.
that's me.
Yeah.
The amount, I'm just gonna put 1, and then I'm gonna create 21 million. I'm gonna create 100 million tokens.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, can I do 1,000?
You can write.
Anything.
Yeah, we're going the Yearn Finance route. We're just gonna create 10,000. These are gonna be super valuable tokens, and I'm gonna call them Joey.
Yeah.
Okay, and this isn't gonna work. Ah, shit. Wait, I don't have a private key. Oh, okay. 1 sec. Just copy it. No one sees this. Where are we? Paste. Continue.
No, it's okay. No worries.
There we go.
Done.
Cool.
Okay. Now.
Well,
Now
it's
you-
gonna
now
take
go-
a few minutes for it to be mined, right?
Yeah, it take few minutes here, and then it has to. Then we have our own token explorer which scans it. So it takes a few minutes there.
Yeah.
So if you go to the RanchiMall Flow Token Explorer, you'll find Joey there. Come up.
And that's over here, right?
Yeah.
Flow Scout.
Yeah. So just you have to search Joey in search here.
Oh, this is cool.
When it comes up.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
it'll take a few
it's not-
minutes
it's not bad.
probably. We're gonna watch Flow Site for another 10 minutes. Maybe it'll come up. But yeah, this is great. I mean, I'm super impressed with everything that you've done since the last time that we talked, which was, I think, just a year or two ago. It was at MIT,
That's
right?
right. MIT. Yeah,
Yeah.
MIT. We made it in New York, and then we made it in MIT after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is incredible. I think that you were just getting started on some of these concepts at that time, and now, I mean, we have WhatsApp, we have a Messenger. I really like the Messenger. This is something that even MLG might be interested in using. I know that they were interested in the encrypted decentralized chat. This is super cool too. I mean, we could use this to create blog posts. I mean, we have our foundations and initiatives channel that has about 40 members, and one challenge that we have is who's going to create like blog post content, who's going to do this, that. If we could use something like this to create blog posts and just like export them as a file, we could really easily create like a structure for people to work on. Just a little, like 40 people work on a few, like one paragraph each, and then you have like a clear way of making a blog post with very little effort from each individual person, and it'll be like, yeah, that's really incredible stuff here. Wow, I'm impressed, guys, and I think that we should spend some more time on this later. Maybe we'll use your thing. We'll use your software to create a blog post about it, and then we can invite you guys on a podcast again. Choose one topic and maybe cap it to an hour. We've been about almost 3 hours now on the line here. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this. It's really awesome.
It's a pleasure.
Dude, this is great.
So essentially, what we're saying is that this application that we have done, we didn't go. I said we're just building application after application. We didn't waste time. We didn't go to market. We're just building applications. But once we are all done. See, we do hope that Flow will catch up. Because there's no other blockchain that can come close to all this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these apps, I can't see it working on Bitcoin. Even on ETH, right? The fees are too high. You need something that's able to be accessible to everybody, and also be like using the fee structure that works for the apps that are being created on it. And I think I think Flow is like a very, very good fit for a lot of these apps. I would say sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that, and what we have, what ETH doesn't have is from a single private key you can log in anywhere. ETH doesn't have it. You need a MetaMask.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, it went through. Super cool.
Okay. So now it has to go into the Token Explorer now.
Yeah. So can I check it out? This keeps popping up because I'm on Linux. It doesn't really know what's going on. If I search for Joey, is it going to come up? Yeah, I guess
it takes some time for.
Right.
It takes some time to scan because our system scans as well. So it takes and it will take for 3 blocks before it confirms.
Oh, I see. 3 blocks might take.
I can see the latest block is 4293804 on our system. So
how many confirms? Oh, it's unconfirmed yet. All right. Well, we don't have to wait for it.
It's unconfirmed.
I believe it's gonna work.
It will work.
Yeah, I all the errors we've encountered so far have been on my end, so pretty impressive that we've had this successful live demo of what I think is more than a dozen applications that we went through today, and I really want to thank you guys again for coming through with all this information and sharing it with the community. We're gonna put this on YouTube and Twitter. Actually, let's check out the Twitter right now. I have to log in because I don't have it. I don't save my Twitter.
Oh yeah.
But let's. If I search for Ranchi, if you guys popped up. You're popular, #1 on my news feed.
Wow.
If anyone listening wants to follow RanchiMall, it's at RanchiMall Flow on Twitter. And yeah, I see that we're posting updates here and everything. If you want to keep in contact with the guys at RanchiMall, please follow their Twitter and follow the FLO live stream podcast on YouTube, which is at FLO Cash. And I wanted to thank you guys again just for coming on and doing this with us. It's been really great, and I just wanted to say thank you from the community. You've been welcome members of the FLO community since the very beginning, and we're glad to have you here.
Absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
Cool, and everyone that's watching the
Thank
live
you.
stream, thank you. Thanks, Amitesh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys, check out the FLO live stream every Saturday, coming at you at 12 noon, which is 9 p.m. India Standard Time. Catch you next time.